You have to enjoy it, too. You have to kind of like...
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's
My gavel disappeared.
It's right here.
Thank you. It's 7 o'clock. We can call the meeting to order. I definitely have a quorum. The only two people absent are Mike and Joe, and I knew they weren't going to be here. So generally, our agenda, call to order, which we've done. We have the reserve fund transfers, which I'm not aware of any. We'll go line item budget, annual town meeting warrant special, report of the finance committee, meeting minutes, of which I don't think we have any, right? We do? Okay,
Two.
great. Thank you. Old business, new business, public access, and adjournment. And I know tonight, with the committee's indulgence, the Charter Review Committee is here to talk about Article 46, which is the amendments to the Sturbridge Charter. And basically that, they have, I think it was sent to everyone here, they're going to attach a modified version of the Charter Committee's report that will become the language the people will vote on at the town meeting. And it'll be attached to the warrant. That's the way they're doing it. Okay, so, Bill, if you want to come up, and hey, you got that, Elisa? 7:01.
If Larry's involved, they probably didn't.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't.
Good, I have,
Whoops.
I still have one.
The people at-
Thank you very much for the opportunity to meet with you with regard to the recommendations of the Charter Review Committee. We began working over a year ago in December of 21.
Yes.
And it was the last meeting on the day that the last town manager or town administrator was leaving. And it was a quick meeting, and they handed us the charter, which we discovered 2 months later was not the charter that we should have been looking at. Apparently, through errors made along the line, the incorrect charter was posted on the town website, and the town administrator took it off that and gave it to us. And after a couple months of Larry, who had served on the last charter committee with me, we kept saying, I thought we did that last time. And Larry, we would sit there and say, well, maybe we didn't. Maybe we're getting old and we really didn't do it. So we, at one point, we called the Secretary of State's office and asked them for the official charter, and they sent us what we had done 5 years ago, and it was correct. So we basically got a little delay as far as working on the charter. So it's been a long process for us. Basically, what you have in front of you is the executive summary, and Priscilla and Larry jump in as we go down through it. And this just outlines the changes that we've made. I can show you it. I'm sorry we didn't prepare full reports for the Finance Committee, but we did for the Board of Selectmen.
Let me break in. We did
Yeah.
ask the Office of the Town Administrator to send you the full report about 10 days or 2 weeks ago. And because we did not hear that you did not receive it, we concluded that the TA's office did in fact send out the whole report. And since it seems that did not happen, part of the presentation tonight will be to cover that, because the Finance Committee is entitled to know everything, and so are the television viewers.
Just a question.
Yes, Jim.
I have this copy, it's 13 pages, it's got all the highlights of all the changes marked out.
Yeah.
Is that the copy you're talking about?
That's the full thing.
Yeah, that's the full thing.
I don't remember how I got this. It might have been emailed to me and I printed it
Hang
out.
on, we have to be careful, because what was emailed out to the Finance Committee is what I'm going to call the as-posted version, which is the one that's supposed to accompany the warrant article. It has changes from the version that they presented to the Board of Selectmen. And I think the way Robin has explained it in the past is the changes are all related to the appointment of the town administrator to fire chief, police chief, and DPW director search committees.
This has a February 7 date on it. February 7.
That would have been ours, yeah.
I don't know if they changed the date on that.
Well, I can tell you, maybe we can just check that, the article, and see if how that changed.
I'm gonna go.
If I could,
Go ahead,
maybe I
Bob.
could clarify.
Yeah, please.
So if you recall, in the Charter Review Commission, the board voted not to accept that one recommendation on the change in the section to the town administrator appointment to those positions. Everything else went through as presented. So what I incorporated into the charter, which apparently what I'm supposed to do is incorporate any recommended changes into the charter. What is incorporated into the charter are all of the articles that the board voted to move forward and place.
So that would have been 6-5. And on ours, it was page 11 of 13.
But basically, because it was a non-change, if you will, they voted not to make a change. Basically, the charter that was there just stayed unchanged. And then everything else that was either crossed out or added, you can
crossed
see
out?
based on what the
This
recommendations
copy
were
has
from
town administrator
the board.
lined out.
Okay, because we haven't seen that, so, yeah.
Well, you probably are wondering, quite literally, what we are talking about in this regard. The Charter Review Committee concluded, after consultation with the immediate past interim town administrator, that it would be more arm's length if the town administrator did not serve on the search committees for police chief, fire chief, and DPW director. You'll recall, this is now a brief sidestep, that those three positions require a level of expertise that is not always found within the townspeople. And those three committees can have up to 2 non-residents, provided their own backgrounds qualify them for the subject matter of the job description. So, that has been a practice for probably decades in Sturbridge. As an example, the search committee for the police chief may have a non-Sturbridge resident, active duty or retired FBI special agent. Why? Because somebody who has worked in that way in law enforcement will know the right questions to ask and, more importantly, spot the right answers or lack thereof. Likewise, fire chief, likewise, DPW director. Well, it was the view of the selectmen, and here I'm on some uncertain ground and would certainly defer to the TA if I get it wrong. The idea was basically to leave it as it is, and that would mean that the TA serves on the committee. Well, the reason that the Charter Review Committee thought that would be unwell, this is the point where the selectmen and the Charter Review Committee differ, is that any TA, not necessarily the current one, and nobody ever looks beyond the job itself. Could be Mary Smith, could be John Jones, doesn't matter. Could spot a candidate and say, aha, here's somebody I can push around. Or here's somebody I am going to have a first-class problem with, and it's ixnay for this candidate. Well, in the presentation by this committee to the selectmen, that came to light, and for the committee, I myself suggested that the selectmen might want to consider an ex officio appointment of the town administrator who could speak, participate in full, but not vote. And I think that was pondered by the selectmen, but when it's all said and done, as the town administrator mentioned a moment ago, if I've got this all straight, the way it has basically been done all along is the change that they made in the material that the Charter Review Committee brought to the selectmen. Time passes. Now we're here. So the Finance Committee is receiving the Charter Review Committee's full report, and in that report is the selectmen's change, which is part of their authority. That's not disputed at all. They could have sent the Charter Review Committee back and say, start with a blank piece of paper. You couldn't have done it worse. They could have discharged the committee and appointed others. The only change, as I understand it, is the one that I've just tried to outline.
Yes.
And
That's it? Good, thank you.
the information with respect to that, too, it's pretty commonplace, at least coming from the educational background that I am. For example, a superintendent, when he's hiring for a principal or she's hiring for a principal, to appoint a search committee, usually composed of parents, stakeholders in that particular process. And it's some deliberation on that individual's part to make sure that they are well-qualified individuals. And the superintendent may then or may not choose to sit with the committee as an ex officio member. More often than not, it's always made very clear that the recommendation that the committee makes, the final decision is up to the superintendent in terms of whom he or she appoints. We didn't feel it was anything abnormal to have the town administrator not serve directly on the committee. Again, we didn't have any discussion with the concept of the ex officio membership, and I'm not sure how the committee would feel. Personally, I wouldn't have a problem with him being on, or her being on the committee as an ex officio member, but that's basically the sense of that one. If you want, we can very quickly run through the summary of changes.
Sure.
So that you,
How would you feel about setting a context first and then doing?
Sure.
go ahead.
Okay. In case you didn't hear what I said, I asked him if setting a context for the changes in your hands would make it more quickly clear to you. And so I thank the committee chair. Here is the context. The Charter Review Committee began pretending that two non-facts are facts. It was pretending and perfectly self-aware that they were pretending, that the committee was pretending. One, and I'll tell you why in a moment, one of the pretendings was that the language developed and submitted would last forever. The other was the language will be so clear that a new resident on their first day in town would pick up the document, read it front to back, and know exactly what the voters intended when they approved it. Of course, that's not true. There will be disputes. There will be finding ambiguities and the like. But the reason it was done was that the committee sensed that it would do a better job, it would advance for the townspeople more completely as a whole by pretending as it did, knowing that the committee's work would fall short, but it would fall short farther along than if it just sailed along and said, well, we read the old one, here's what we think should be the new one, and call it a day. And all of that is because the committee has, in round numbers, 9,500 bosses. And they agree and they don't agree. and people who agree on one thing disagree on another, and so on. But the idea, which ties to the two pretendings, is that the committee wanted to make the ideal turn into workable and practical. So to do that, the committee asked itself 3 questions, and those questions, that the answers to them became a test for every single strikeout or preservation of the still current charter. Every time. What if this? What if that? Whatever the answer was, then the question was, 3 questions. What if is the first. The second, then what? Because we all live in the same neighborhood, and it's called consequences. And the third was the most important letter in the alphabet, why. The answer to why brought back what if, which brought then what, and so on. And when the committee exhausted its ability to go round and round, it decided then by vote, it stays as is, as a recommendation, or it changes, and here is the change as a recommendation. All of the votes, every single one, was unanimous, only because, through discussion, without exaggeration, all 5 members, over and again, at one time or another, walked away from their original position and reached unanimity.
And I might just chime in and say that I think this is the 3rd or 4th Charter Review Committee that I've served on, and that has not been the case in the previous ones. There's always been just a dissenting vote on various and sundry issues. So this was an anomaly as far as the unanimity of the committee. I do want to just, we got off very quickly, but I did want to introduce the members of the committee. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bill Haggerty. Larry Morrison is on our committee, Priscilla Jimis. And there are 2 members who couldn't be with us tonight, Steve Sexton and Kirsty Pesci. And that comprised our committee. With that said, Larry, do you think we should?
Yeah, almost done.
Okay.
Sure. Some things were obvious. We had to modernize language, particularly with gender. And we had to do it in a way that didn't produce awkward grammar and that didn't change the meaning if we wanted to recommend keeping the meaning while changing it to gender neutral, or likewise when it came to a recommended change. But that we did. The chair has now served on a total of 4 charter review committees, myself on 3, Kirsty Pesci on 2, Steve Sexton, brand new, and Priscilla Jimis was a finance committee member before she was a selectman. And double back to Steve, who was a newbie in this sort of thing, the cross currents, the texturing, I think is how we were able every time to reach unanimity by understanding a different point of view than the one we had held originally. There are a series of 5 or 7 collateral findings that went to the selectmen. We heard some from the public. We heard from members of this committee and from many others. And sometimes what people had to say was not within the scope of the assignment from the selectmen. But it was pretty important. We judged. And so we listed those, and I can, when we're through, I can pass this bound copy, a complete copy, that to everybody, that includes the collateral findings.
Larry, on this committee, I know it's impressive, the number of committees. Were they with different towns or not with the same town? In other words, you want to find
All here.
all with the same town?
I had the honor of being elected to the first charter commission that wrote the town charter back in 19.
The question is that, do we review other towns' bylaws and look at it and say, they're the best of class there and wherever, and they're the best in class there, and pull one out and pull one in and twist it together and say, wait a second, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, there's other places besides Durban.
When the original charter was written, it's exactly how it worked. I think we had maybe 50 or 60 charters from, not only in Massachusetts, but other states that we used to write the initial charter, which was adopted.
Cross-fertilization of ideas and different things, and the Avalon committees, we pulled it out, and we ended up with almost like
Right.
a document without doing anything.
And a lot of it was experience, into the sense of, what was good that was happening in Sturbridge, what was not so good that was happening, at least from the commission's perspective.
But after that, no. And in this case, no. There was a concern that in setting out to design a horse, we'd wind up with a camel.
That's called a committee.
Among the 5 members, just to finish that earlier thought, there are a total of 30 memberships statewide in this state and in this town, elected and appointed 30 among the 5 on the committee, so that somebody could, in the discussion, say, yeah, well, I was on the planning board for 6 years. This ain't going to work, etc. So community service in this town was brought to bear. Careful, though, not to generalize from one's own experience, but from the larger experience of service on the total of those 30 boards, committees, and commissions. We tried to look at the entire charter and the apparatus of the town government as if it were a watch, a timepiece. Everything has to balance or nothing works. One little thing just goes on strike, and you literally run out of time. You're stuck. So that was important in looking at who has the final say, obviously apart from the voters, but in the mechanics and the operation of the town government, who does what, in order that who can do what, so that, and so forth, using the idea of a watch, how it works. And we thought that made the recommendations truer to real life. The way it works is the Finance Committee will reach its decision and vote. That will be in a text box. It will go to the annual town meeting. There will, as a warrant article, there will be a vote. 2/3, I think, is required. Then, if it passes, it will be on the ballot next spring. If it passes, if it passes then it takes effect. And when it takes effect is set forth in the recommendations. The committee is not yet discharged. It's up to the selectmen when that will happen. That's the context. Please keep that in mind when you're proceeding through these bulleted items. These bulleted items were born in the context that I just tried to lay out. You now, in effect, attended all 20 of our meetings. Sir.
I might point out, too, that we opened it up to the general public, the residents of Sturbridge, through the internet. We asked for their input, in terms of where they felt that the government, town government needed to be improved and what they thought should be done if they felt they had a solution. We also met with we invited anyways, every town committee, board and officer in Sturbridge to meet with us over that period of the year. And essentially what you have here is a result of listening to what they had to contribute and then basically synthesizing and then debating and then approving what we have before us.
A lot of this stuff seems like operational. You need to go on with the idea there were some obvious problems with the way things were run, because some of this stuff is it seems operational.
Yeah.
More
Yeah,
than
and-
town people are like saying, I want a nice town and I want green lands and stuff like that. This is like, this guy's gonna be responsible for that, the TA's gonna do this, the budget committee's gonna start now earlier because it's April, not
Right.
June.
Yeah.
These are all things that are more operational, like, that seem like there might be problems with the way we're running.
The charter is the constitution of Sturbridge, and it has the force of state law. But it's not the bylaws.
Right.
The bylaws are junior, subordinate to the charter itself. And the bylaws are the bridge to operations, management. And within that, at the same time, the setting of policy. That's part of that idea of a watch. This is going on, so that can go on, and then back to this. That's the idea. But you will never find in the charter, I think, never is a pretty long time, that the Conservation Commission has to meet on Thursdays. No.
So with that said, we'll just very quickly run through, and I will, if you have any questions, just yell out, and we'd be happy to try to answer them. First and foremost, we recommended changing the name of the Board of Selectmen to the Select Board throughout the charter. So we would have a Select Board, which is basically gender-free in terms of the designation. We remove all gender references in the charter. I think we've done that. I think actually the last charter review committee did that for the most part, although we discovered that we were remiss because we left a few in. So
Yeah,
we caught them this time.
The chairman actually went to the Attorney General to find out which the hell charter is Sturbridge's, because the website was wrong, everything was wrong. Why is something that I myself, and as a member of the committee, don't know. But we found out, we discovered, wait a minute, as the Chair tried to indicate, we did this about 4 or 5 years ago. Well, we don't know how it came to pass, and I'm not sure anybody wants to find out, because it could mean that a whole lot has to be undone or redone. I don't know, and I don't want to know. We just got the real one and worked from it. It took us about 6 weeks to get that, once we worked with the Attorney General.
So the one on the website, is that the correct one?
It is now.
Now it is.
Because people might want to compare your changes to
No,
the
right.
current
No.
one. Okay.
If there was a stem to stern a vacuuming of all the old wrong, and what is right now today in effect is what is found throughout. It is that document that this proposes to amend.
Actually, it might be nice, because I'm looking at it now, that at the end, when it's approved and all that, to put a date under it when it's posted on the website, as of whatever date that it was approved by the voters at the election.
Yeah, with the actual charter document, we dated, as
Yeah.
Jim pointed out, and I think it's always advisable to do that. In fact, I think that, I'm not even sure that the right date was on that the wrong charter. I'm surprised someone didn't catch it before that.
The one that I pointed out was attached to this.
That's the
All right,
real,
so-
that's the real thing.
And you still have the problem of putting a date, and somebody in a slovenly way, replaces the whole document, and you can't tell because the date is out of date.
Right, we're having that problem up here, because the document Jim printed, which I wanted to compare to that hardbound one you have there, I believe is your actual recommendation. It is not what I sent to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee has the as attached, I'm quoting the as attached version, the one that we would be acting on. And when you get to 6.5, there's more changes than just the town administrator.
Can I hand this over to a member, and then you'll work through it?
If it would help, I took exact version that the Charter Review Committee presented and accepted everything, made the changes they incorporated, and just didn't change that one section. So the only difference should be that one section.
Yeah, but there's more than just
Was
not
the
having
proposed
the
charter
town
provisions
administrator
and the
review.
town charter?
It's
There were
just-
other
it's
changes in that
interesting.
section.
What's confusing too is they both have the same
Sounds
day.
to
They both say February 7th on it, and so
Why
it's
did we date
really,
it? I'm
really
sorry.
confusing.
It probably would have made more sense if they dated it with the date of their action.
Yeah, it's not.
So while we're on the gender issue, the word selectmen, what are members of the select board going to be referred to going forward? Are they going to be called members of the select board, and we're going to eliminate the term selectmen?
Yeah.
As I'm reading this, and I keep seeing the word selectmen in the documentation.
Well, that's because we're basing the changes on the one that is current, which is selectmen.
So that word goes away.
In other, selectmen goes,
Like a
the parlance
person.
in other towns, it's select person.
Select
People,
person.
I guess,
Okay.
For the town charter revisions.
Or a select member, whatever.
yeah, I saw the same thing, I saw the same thing.
This is what like this.
Moving on, the assigns the moderator the sole authority to ensure diverse viewpoints and concerns are represented and heard at town meetings. We heard that the feeling was that sometimes that positions may not be well represented, or that people didn't get a bias or did not get an unbiased view. So we basically included language that just made reference to the fact that the moderator has a responsibility to make sure that diverse viewpoints are heard at the meeting.
Which actually, if you think now, the moderator is at pains to say, we'll do for and against, and please don't repeat what somebody has already said. And so this is memorializing, but it's a practice that I know firsthand from the moderators I've known, and the first one I knew took office right after the Korean War. Since then, they've all done it that way. This just memorializes it.
It also assigns the moderator the sole discretion to determine the means and methods by which votes are made electronically or by any other form at town meetings. It moves the annual town meeting from the first Monday in June to the fourth Monday in April. That we heard that very frequently from people who sat with us, town officers and some residents. I don't go to the town meeting because it interferes. The town meeting is right at the time when we're in the middle of playoffs with Little League, softball, schools coming to an end. We're doing, we're planning family events and graduations and all of these. We heard all these reasons why people don't show up at town meeting. And those of us who have attended many of them know that unless there's a racetrack on the warrant, the attendance is very sparse. And it gets sparser as the evening wears on. And if there's a controversial issue, once that issue is resolved, one way or the other, the meeting diminishes significantly in size.
Yes.
So we talked about the fact, and we heard a lot about went back in the good old days when we were at the first week in April, that was a good time because there was not a lot going on in terms of activities and family activities and so forth. However, in our discussion, we felt very strongly that the the financial information that comes from the state is not available. We also discussed the fact that originally we moved to the first Monday in June, thinking that the state would be beneficent and would provide you with all the information you needed to know in order to plan your budget appropriately, which, as we found, in reality, is not the case.
Not all the time, right? So can I ask a question related?
Sure.
So then you just, as a committee, relied on anecdotal evidence? You didn't go to the town clerk and actually do, what's the evidence of attendance when we went to meetings in June versus what's the evidence of attendance when it used to be held the first week in April?
When we spoke with her, she did indicate that attendance, she verified that attendance was not good at the town meeting date as current.
How did she verify, though? What evidence?
Well, she
did
just said,
present?
I don't know. We didn't ask for, concrete
You have
evidence.
attendance sheets over the years or anything? You don't have that?
Well, no, they do.
They do?
But my anecdotal experience is there's no difference in the meeting in June versus when it was at the beginning of April. It's still that same core 140 or so people that stick around to vote, other than when the big issue happens, they vote and then they leave. But that core vote is always there, whether the meeting was the first week of April or the first week of June.
Well, the recommendation is the fourth Monday in April, not the first.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, we could have gotten that information from what the period when it was officially held.
Well, the clerk, we thought, was the highest and best authority to answer the question, and when she answered it, we believed her.
Okay.
Kevin, if I could I
We
just
didn't
comment on
ask
that one
for
change a little
certified
bit? I don't know if you want to
documents
comment on it after or while we're
I
doing
think, is someone trying to speak?
Yeah, Rob.
Jay is trying to speak and it's not coming over the mic.
Oh, okay.
Oh, can you hear me?
Barely.
Just, yeah,
We had the same
Okay,
problem
how
last
about,
week.
I'll get close to the thing,
that's
is that
not
better?
helping, really. You have an actual mic?
Yeah, I'm on the same phone I was on, the same computer I was on a few minutes ago, so I don't know what happened.
We can hear you, but just, it's faint, a little bit faint.
Try it.
Okay, I'll yell.
No, it was not 100.
Oh, it is? Okay.
It's our equipment.
Okay, so Kevin, do you want to comment individually on these, or do you want me to wait until the end? This is the only one I really have a comment on.
No, go ahead. Feel free.
So I had expressed concern about this one to the selectmen and the Charter Review Committee, and both those bodies agreed with each other. There was just a discussion about state aid, for example, and while the budget is not finalized, this year was actually the perfect example, because from the time Barbara and I did the budget book to the night of the presentation of the budget, we found a state aid number had changed. Now, that doesn't mean that's set in stone until a budget passes, but it at least put us in a more accurate position. The other concern I have about this is that when we put forward items that we're going to purchase and we have to produce a bill, a quote, we are going to be getting a quote now back in December or January to get it going in February for a warrant that has to be good until July. At this point, we have a hard enough time getting a quote in March or April for July. So it really, and then it also means that we have to start to look at numbers in October and November. So we have a quarter of a fiscal year to base our actuals on. And I do feel pretty strongly about this one. And I understand we want people to come to town meeting. I mean, if we had to do a Saturday, a Saturday in June I don't think would be better, but whatever we had to do, I support. But I just don't feel like this is the answer. I even suggested maybe middle of May or late May, but then people were concerned about other events with the schools. So, I mean, I understand, I respect the Charter Review's position and the board that they want more attendance, but this is one I have to just at least say my piece on.
Did as I said earlier, we haven't seen the Robin, from what I understand, the board, the only change the board made was at 6:05. They didn't, how did they respond with respect to the changing of the town meeting date?
In our as attached.
They supported all of your recommendations except that one section on the town administrator on the search committees.
Okay, thank you.
It's worth noting, if I might.
And I have every other recommendation I'm fully comfortable with. This was the only one that I wanted to speak on.
Please keep in mind that this, it's either in the Constitution or it's a statute, that the first year of a first-term governor means that that governor has 30 days extra before submitting a budget. It's the only time that that happens. This year, there is a new governor,
It's mine.
first year,
Oh, it's for you to look at.
and that 30 days was taken. So this is not typical. The timing is not typical this year for that reason.
But this proposal is to change the timing of the meeting by 5 weeks. It's deceptive. You're saying the last Monday in April
Right.
versus the first Monday in June, which is 5 weeks. It sounds like it's 2 months, but it's not. It's 5 weeks.
Correct.
5 weeks is a big.
But it's not 8 or 9.
So was there any analysis done to what the effect of this change would do to the town bylaws? Because there were bylaw changes put in place about when certain activities need to take place in the budget process.
Yes, and we were explicit to the selectmen. The selectmen replied saying, oh, we did that recently. And we pointed out that the adoption of the finalized document, however it may read, will come after their recent look at the bylaws. And there, the discussion withered.
Okay. So there really hasn't been that, what are the consequences of this decision discussion happened yet? It was mentioned, said you need to be aware that these downstream effects are going to happen, but it wasn't really analyzed.
Well, not by the Charter Review Committee, which took a very limited view, a rigorous view of its limitations. Committee doesn't get to rule the world, and it wouldn't dare let itself. Rather fall short than go just rampaging.
And I understand the concern about having the town meeting being closer to the end of the fiscal year, so you're only dealing with about 4 uncertain weeks before the fiscal year ends, because we're not proposing changing the fiscal year here. So now you're going to be looking at 8 to 10 weeks between, 8 to 9 weeks between town meeting and the end of the fiscal year on June 30th. Just an observation.
No, it'd be more than that. You got 3 more weeks in April, all of May and all of June.
Not
the
3
end
more
of
weeks in
April.
April, it's the end of April.
The
It's
end
the
of
last
April.
Monday in
Oh, end of
April.
April. I thought it was the- I'm
So
thinking
so
first
you've
week,
got,
yeah.
you've got May and June, you've got about 9 weeks probably total, tops. But it's still, it adds another month of advance.
I might add that the discussion and the consideration of the date was probably equivalent to that when we moved it from the first Monday in April to June, and I was on that particular Charter Review Committee.
I wasn't, so the fiscal year has
I
been
think
pretty
that, yeah.
straightforward.
Yeah.
It's been what it is,
Uh-huh.
like forever, like, okay.
Well, fiscal years under the UMass, not University of Massachusetts, but the Uniform Municipal Accounting System, makes it a lockstep across the state.
And I think maybe, rather than say changing the date, maybe we should try promoting town meeting more aggressively. Like you say, if you get the right topics on it, and I've been in other towns, you get it, you do it standing room only, right? You couldn't even get in the hall.
It's an
last time.
operational matter, not in the purview of this committee.
Yeah, it's,
Oh, for as far as, you want, but do you say the objective of this thing is to get more people to attend the meeting? That was the objective of this change? And what I'm saying is, there's another way to do it, and maybe more aggressively promote it.
Right.
For people to attend. That's what I'm saying, might be an alternative.
Sounds like a management activity.
Were there any other
You're not
dates?
going to find the Charter Review Committee going out and beating the bushes.
Well, no, I'm saying just take it off and let the people that are concerned about it.
Citizens have responsibility of citizenship.
But I'm just curious, were there any other dates considered, like sometime in May? Or has it always been just April or June?
I think that there was some discussion of a May date, but I think that, again, what happened is they were concerned about the more you move that in that direction, the more you're going to get involved in family activities, school activities, graduations,
Flea market.
flea markets, you name it.
Holiday, the Memorial Day.
So that was the reason that
College graduations are pretty early. People, go off to Palo Alto.
Okay.
So I do remember, we were discussing this in previous years, probably before my time on this committee, people saying that, well, we don't want to, people would suggest or bring up the subject of doing the meeting on Saturday for the convenience of some of our senior citizens who didn't want to be traveling at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. And the pushback on that was, well, that's a family day for recitals or ball games or blah, 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 blah. Well, is that kind of ameliorated by the fact we're doing it in April, and maybe we could do it on a Saturday at the end of April instead of a Monday, and allow for that contingent to attend that otherwise doesn't want to be out driving at 11 o'clock at night? I'm just throwing that out there, and maybe I'm way after the fact. Maybe I should have been paying closer attention for the past 3 or 4 months. But that argument keeps coming back to me, to which I respond like Larry, it's your civic duty. So figure it out and bring your kids if you want to, so they learn a civics lesson in government. But anyway, I'll stop there.
Another way of analyzing it is to try to get to root causes and define the turnout as a result. What kind of interest is there in local government, this local government, and how exercised are individuals about getting a babysitter?
Right. I agree.
Everybody, gets to make their own decision, and they leave to others the decision that will affect themselves if they want to stay home.
Right.
I've actually thought that we should consider providing daycare, which is, a babysitting something, which is a separate discussion from tonight, but.
Yeah, but
Yes.
the negative piece to that, because that too came up, is that your babies, you can put them in, you can get a babysitting service, that's easy enough to get. However, when a meeting runs past 9 o'clock, if you have let's say 8, 9, 10-year-old, if you have a younger one, certainly 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then if you have a babysitter at your home, well, sometimes a babysitter has to get home earlier than 11 o'clock or whatever. So, I'm not sure what the answer is, but it's a conundrum no matter how you look at it.
You're right there.
So we gave it our best shot. So that's what we recommended, and as I said to the Board of Selectmen, it's up to the townspeople to make that determination. We make the recommendations, they have the final say.
So the townspeople they're gonna vote on every point or the whole thing?
No, it's, if you read the warrant article, it basically says, to the effect, let me see if I can I'll get the language right here. It basically, by substituting the recommended draft charter as attached to this warrant. So you're going to have to go someplace where the warrant is posted, which is downstairs here, the library, the post office, and there's a fourth location. I think it might be the senior center. And you're going to have to review it. Oh, it might be posted online on the website.
I was just
don't
going to
know
ask,
that.
is it posted on the website?
I don't know.
Yes.
Robin, do you know, is it the warrant, is the warrant and the charter recommendations posted on the website, town website?
I believe so, under the clerks. They should be under the clerks page.
Do you know, though, like, our confusion here right now is there's 2 documents, the exact same name, they look almost exactly identical, except the one is what I'm quoting as the as-attached version, and one is the version that's actually delivered by the Charter Review Committee.
Lynn was given Lynn was given the as-attached version. What I gave Lynn was what the board voted forward.
Okay.
Only 6.5, meaning Section 6, Paragraph 5, which deals with the membership of the town administrator on the three search committees, police, fire,
Right.
and DPW. That is the, capital T, change the selectmen made, and at the same time, they accepted everything else.
Kevin, can I ask you a question? Okay, so it says as attached, but it's not going to officially be attached to the document? Am I
No,
understanding
it'll be
this right?
attached when, you know how you post the warrant and you clip it together? It's got to be attached to that.
Oh, right, to the warrant, but what I'm saying, I guess let me rephrase it. The booklet that we get with the warrant items,
It will not be in there.
it will not be. Okay, so I'm just going to
I was
throw...
talking with Bill earlier, maybe I can get, well, I have that version, I know what it is I can add it as an appendix to the
I was
Finance
gonna ask-
Committee report. But then what I don't have is the ability to say, here's what the differences are. You know, because this is the original one, the one that is your hard copied one that someone here has now. And then there's this version, which, you know, by all accounts, the only section that's changed is 6.5. But until I see it with myself, you know, it's the trust but verify thing.
The only thing that's been changed by the selectmen, there are 50 or 75 changes, and they're highlighted in yellow. Sometimes it's literally a comma.
Yeah.
But the change from the submission...
capitalization.
Oh, yeah, but the change by the selectmen from the submission by the Charter Review Committee in its final report is only 6.5.
You know that for a fact. That's
Yes.
just what you've heard. You've actually verified comparing yours to the as-attached warrant.
A side-by-side reading shows that only 6.5 changes.
Okay.
But
That's
there-
what I didn't
Yeah, I
have
want to
done yet,
distinguish
so.
change from change. The selectmen, who have the final say-so through the Finance Committee to the ultimate say-so by the voters, changed the Charter Review Committee's document only at 6.5. The Charter Review Committee prior to that made dozens of changes, sometimes, and comma, capitalization, and those are highlighted in yellow. So when you're reading one and paying attention to the yellow, you're also reading the other one.
And I just found it posted on the town website, and it's the updated version that doesn't line out the town administrator.
It does line out, or?
It does not. The one on the town website doesn't eliminate the town. It reinstated her to that. So it says appointment of town employees.
So it's the
town
as-attached version.
Yeah, the town administrator shall advertise all available positions. It doesn't eliminate her from participating on those committees that this one did. This one said, it said, number one, town administrator, it was lined out. The version that's posted now on the town website is not that version. It's the, appears to be the
Jim, are you
subsequent.
looking at the charter that's posted, or are you looking at the charter, the recommendations is supposedly
I'm looking at
attached to the warrant?
I'm looking at the proposed charter revisions. It's posted under charters and bylaws on the town website. It says general bylaws, zoning bylaws, town charter, attachment, proposed charter revisions. It's still got the February date on it.
Yeah, it looks exactly like.
The
the
selectmen agreed with the Charter Review Committee 99.9%. 0.1% is 6-5.
And this one is different from the one I just had here printed out. This one doesn't remove the town administrator from, under 6-5, from participating on those search committees.
Yeah,
Well,
I-
It includes her.
Yes.
She's supposed to be on
I
the
know, that's what I'm
selectmen's-
saying, the one that is posted, that Lynn must have posted, is the most current updated version.
Good.
That's the point I'm making. We were
That's
discussing
the
it.
only version that's the only version that technically exists now.
Exactly.
right,
Because
that's
once
good.
the board voted it, that's the only one that exists. With respect to the Charter Review Committee, what they've presented was what they presented to the board. The official document is then what the board votes. So
Exactly.
that's why that's the only one. And so what you're seeing tonight was the original one. The Charter Review is showing you what they presented to the board.
Correct.
And about 5 minutes ago, somebody asked what's on the website now, and that's why I looked it up, and this is what's
Yes.
there.
And that's exactly what should be there, yes.
Thank you, Madam TA, you're exactly right.
Okay.
Moving on, there was a requirement in the charter that department heads attend all sessions of special town meetings, and the feeling was that there are some town meetings where there's nothing on the warrant that deals with a particular department. Why would you insist that a department head come out and just sit through that meeting if he has no contribution to make? So we basically gave the town administrator the authority to make that determination, whether the department head should be there for that special town meeting. We get to the issue of the recall process. And again, as Larry pointed out, this is a good example of where, what if, and we went through that recall process at length. And so basically we clarified some things that would require a selectman subject to a recall to recuse themselves from the duties, his duties or her duties during the recall process. And the next one is assign the duties required of selectmen in the recall process to the town clerk in the event that all selectmen are recalled, which...
What if?
What if? Then what?
Not addressing it and letting it happen and prove that it won't
Right.
is not a time to go running around saying, what the heck are we going to do?
Right.
Exactly.
I got a question, going back to the other one, required attendance. I mean, in today's environment with people moving, traveling, and all the other stuff, shouldn't it be department heads or their surrogates? I mean, if I'm a department head and I'm traveling somewhere for whatever reason, shouldn't I be able to say my second in command who's well-equipped in it, to say that in that thing? I don't see it.
Yeah, that would be up to the town administrator.
The department heads report to the town administrator, and the language here says, as determined by.
Okay.
Back to 3.9.
Okay, moving on, requires the search committee for a town administrator to recommend to the selectmen no fewer than 2, no more than 3 candidates.
No, that's missing. That's gone.
No, that.
That is removed in the as-attached
Right.
warrant, yes.
It is?
It is. That's why I was wondering if you compared it side by side. That language is not in the as-attached warrant.
Where is it? Show me, where is it, Howard?
Right. That's, go back to 6.5.
I wonder if that's a scribe's oversight.
That may be. That was, so this was the number of people, because when you had proposed to change it, it changed to 2 people, it changed to 3 people.
No more
Because the
than,
town administrator wasn't on. So now it's back to
No,
2
this-
people.
This is the town administrator search.
recommending. no
Oh, I'm
more-
sorry, that
no
search.
more
That
than
I didn't
3,
touch.
at least
That
2.
may be a Scrivener's error.
Well,
Well, then it's not right. It is gone. From their recommendation to the as-attached warrant, that
5-2.
language is not there.
5-2.
Yeah, it's not here.
Yeah.
that changed after
that's-
the proofreading.
Yeah,
That's a scribe's
proofreading. I
error or
apologize.
oversight. That's got to
I
be
apologize.
remedied. Yeah.
That's, but it says, here's what the sentence says, right? In the as-attached warrant, the search committee shall screen all applicants, interview the top applicants at a legally advertised public meeting, and the town administrator shall select the best applicant for appointment, subject to confirmation by the Board of Selectmen. Your thing about 2 or 3 is all gone. It's not there.
Scribe's mistake.
No, it's not. It's posted. This is what the Board of Selectmen.
No.
What
When that-
section are you under?
I'm on the as-attached warrant you provided to us.
When the document
Right,
you're
but what section? What section are you under?
5-2,
5-2.
5-2.
Well, there is no 1, 2, or 3 anymore, it's 1 paragraph. It's just 6.5.
I understand that.
5, though.
The document you're referring to.
Section 5.2.
5-2, not 6.
I thought you said the only section to change was 6.5.
5-2.
I am attempting to explain to you that after the side-by-side reading, proofreading, a scribe, whoever that is, busily typing, jumped over certain words. They should be in there. The as-attached reflects a scribe's error.
But that is what you're asking people to vote on, with the scribe error included.
We, as a committee, did what we were supposed to, go find the scribe.
Okay.
Let me look it up right now and see where
I
that
was looking
is,
at
because there was,
Yes,
that section should not have been changed at all, if it's the town administrator search.
Who's responsible for the final document before it's posted then? Who's responsible
I
to look
sent
at
that,
it?
that's me, I sent that, I had to type in all of the changes that, or not, and what I basically did was I took the version that was sent to me from the charter review, and I typed changes. Now, did I hit a section that I didn't realize I hit? I'm not sure why I would have, because I didn't change anything in the town administrator search.
Yeah.
But obviously, somewhere in the document it did. I'm just trying to pull up what I sent.
It's not getting, it's not, by the way, it's not getting fault to anybody, it's just that if it didn't work, you shouldn't put it on you. There should be another person set of eyes to look at this thing and say, yes, it's good or not good, that's all.
Yeah, and I don't mean to yell, I just don't know if you guys can hear me, so,
No, you're fine.
It's under 5.2.
okay,
And I
then I
know
won't
where
yell
it
at you.
comes
Under 6.5?
6.5
Here we go. I'm looking at it
includes
right
the
now.
town administrator search. It includes
5.2.
police, fire, and director of public works. 5.2 is strictly for the town administrator. Okay?
5.2.
And by the way, Bill, if I'm recalling correctly, we had a town administrator search committee where we had to recommend 3, and we were
Select
forced to
board,
throw somebody in that we
5.
really didn't want to, but the
Yep.
charter said we had to present 3, so we did.
Right.
And we only really
So,
wanted to.
Kevin, what are you
present 2,
saying,
but
what are you saying is not right? What I sent to
Same thing,
Lynn
Yep.
says the
I
search
remember that.
committee shall advertise the available
The TA
position,
is clarified.
screen all out,
Yeah.
and present no fewer than 2, not more than 3 candidates.
Right, that same language is in their version of 6.5, but it's been struck.
Right, but that didn't belong in 6.5.
It's not in
Because
6.5.
6.5 is me appointing, and it changed from 3, they changed it from 2 to 3 because they weren't counting me.
Right.
And then, once it went back to the town administrator, that it became, that there's an appointment of 2 people in 6.5. 6.5 and 5.2 have nothing to do with each other.
That's right.
There's nothing in 5.2.
5.2 is exactly right.
That may have been.
6.5 is for appointment of a police or fire chief or director of
I got the
public
difference
works.
now.
Totally
5.2 there now.
different. They have
Doesn't
nothing to
include
do
the
with each
TA.
other.
5.2 is the TA search.
TA,
got
yes,
that, yeah.
yes.
It's there.
Well,
Right, they have
what-
nothing to
I
do
guess
with
what-
each other.
What confuses me is the same verbiage
Thank
that's in
you,
5.2
Robin.
is in 6.5, and I'm only comparing, I'm looking at 6.5, and that same language is not there anymore.
No, that's appointments by the town administrator, not of the town administrator.
Right. I've got that
And-
clarification now.
Right, so what happened in Larry's version, they changed it to 3 instead of 2 voters because the town administrator was no longer on and they needed to add a member to make the number uneven. When the town administrator got put back on, it left the other one at 2.
That's not the language I'm
That's not
talking
the
about.
town
I'm talking
administrator was
about the
taken off of that.
candidates.
No, that's consistent with what the,
Been
in
rectified.
the charter, it says, right under there, on
Right.
5.2. Do you have the original document?
Yeah, I do. I guess where my confusion, right, is in 5.2, you use the sentence, the same thing, that
different
in recommend to the town administrator, or in 6.5 it says this, right? In recommend to the town administrator,
Right.
no fewer than 2 and no more than 3 candidates for consideration.
Right, and it says-
That's in 5.2, right? You agree?
right.
It's no longer in 6.5. That's where my confusion comes
Whole
from.
different thing.
'Cause
Right,
Our recommendation
because I
was
don't-
for that. They voted not to do that.
Yeah.
They
Even
voted
that
not
part
to
of it, they
change
voted
that
not to do.
section at all.
Okay.
Basically, Robin, if I understand it correctly, that Board of Selectmen basically wanted to leave that 6.5 as was or currently is in the charter, without any change.
Exactly. The vote was to not change 6.5.
Right.
Right. And 5.2, as Jim has indicated, as in a prior search, myself and Bill came up against the same thing. Just to honor the number in the charter, you brought forth a name you really did not want to do. But you had to. Well, here's a chance in 5.2, not 6.5, to remedy that, forcing cream to the top.
So if we've resolved,
See, well, yeah, no, we have. I guess my thing is, I only thought 6.5 was about The only verbiage we would be removing was crossing out the words town administrator. They actually reverted all of the
That's
language.
all of our recommendation with that section, so the
That was where
the
I-
current one would remain in force.
Selectmen told the Charter Review Committee, take your hands off that.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, got you. Now you've
Politely.
clarified it for me.
No, not politely.
All right, okay, we did that.
We are in high dudgeon.
Exclude the exclude from the town administrator's jurisdiction the authority to make appointments under the jurisdiction of the superintendent of schools, the board of the library trustees, town clerk, and moderator. It's more a matter of clarification, because the town administrator does not, because of various sundry laws and other things, have the ability to do that, so we wanted to make sure it was clearly spelled out in the charter. Exclude from the town administrator's jurisdiction the care, custody, and control over the rental use of town property that is under the jurisdiction of the superintendent of schools, the board of library trustees, and the conservation committee. Again, the same situation. Require the town administrator and the town clerk to inventory for accuracy and completeness the list of all offices, committees, boards, and commissions every 6 months.
There's a good reason for that. Sometimes the inventory was done so infrequently that the official roster had the names of dead people. The official roster had listed a board, a committee, or a commission that did not exist. And there were those that did exist that were not in the inventory.
So we felt that there should be 2 eyes on that. I think initially it was simply the town clerk was charged with the responsibility, and we felt that the addition of the town administrator would make a lot more sense. So moving on, clarify those town offices that are not subject to the appointment of the town administrator. And then we get into the sticky wicket.
Yeah.
Form the search committee for the police chief, fire chief, and so forth. So basically, really, that recommendation from the committee, as far as you're concerned, is null and void, because our document, as Robin rightly points out, we were appointed by the Board of Selectmen to make recommendations to the Board of Selectmen for changes to the charter. And we have done that. They have reviewed it and apparently decided that 6.5 is not something they want to have changed, and they've removed that section. So that next one, and membership on the search committee, recommend to the town administrator, recommend for the segment of searches. Basically, the next 1, 2, 3, 4, four things, bullets, would be not non-valid.
6.5B.
Where, here,
Oh,
yeah.
6.5 is gone,
Right.
so.
Now, the new thing, then we add, we place slowly within the authority, slowly within the authority of the town administrator and without confirmation of the selectmen, the appointment of any candidate for employment to any position, which position does not hold the authority to expend public funds, hire or terminate, review the work of others for purposes of promotion or demotion, or determine compensation. We heard multiple levels from department heads that it just didn't make sense when I needed to hire a clerk, or I needed to hire a custodian, or a part-time employee, that those individuals had to wait to go to the Board of Selectmen for a confirmation. So basically what we did is we said, all right, that makes sense. The town administrator makes the appointment. They do not have to wait for a confirmation by the Board of Selectmen. And that's 6-5B. Authorize the town administrator the option to delegate any and all parts of the search process except the authority of the town administrator to recommend candidates for the confirmation by the selectmen, again, 6.5B, and reduce from 1 year to 90 days from the deadline for the selectmen to make public the town charter immediately after approval by an election, at an election. We felt that given technology at this point, that there's no reason that they would have to wait a whole year to get the charter posted on the website. That should occur, we thought 90 days was reasonable. So that is basically the document.
And that's truly just actual publication, it has nothing to do with the inaction.
No, just publication.
Hey, Robin? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Got a question. These changes and the like, and hopefully you're here for like 100 years, but does this hinder us from
At least for 5.
attracting good people for the TA position? Is this pretty normal to have? You comfortable with all this? It's normal?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable. Yep, I'm very comfortable with all this. It keeps a good, healthy balance. It helps on the things like, being able to appoint frontline positions that are, in DPW, for example, a little quicker, so it gives me a little more authority in that sense of my position. But it just codifies things like I don't have the authority over the schools, and so that there's never an issue with that. And a lot of that comes out of state law too, but I think that this is a very fair charter. As I said, I only had one issue, and it's much more an operational issue. It's not about the role of the TA so much. But yeah, I'm very comfortable.
Okay.
Mr. Peabody apparently isn't, because he's barking.
What did she just say?
It must be the dog, Mr. Peabody. All right, well,
Any questions that you have?
no, you've actually answered all my questions.
Well, we try.
Just a sincere thank you for all your hard work.
It's our pleasure. In 5 years, there'll be a different group back.
Actually, there's a difference between a charter review committee and a charter review commission. A commission is required if the form of government is changed. Let's have 13 selectmen, that takes a commission. Let's have a mayor, no selectmen, that takes a commission.
And those commission members have to stand for election at the town,
Right.
a town election.
And that's what Framingham went through a few years ago when they changed from a town to a city.
Yes.
I recall that.
Yeah. We've avoided that so far.
An 80,000 population town,
Okay.
that's a stretch.
So, in front of us then, we have Article 46, amendments to the Sturbridge Charter. Like I read to you before, it basically says as attached, you all have the as attached version. Are there any motions, thoughts, anything like that? I have my thoughts, but I don't traditionally make a motion.
I'll make a motion that the Finance Committee recommend to town meeting that we approve Article 46, that they vote to approve Article 46 as presented.
I will second that.
Hang on a second. Article 46, approve as written, Jim and Lee. Now, we can open it up for discussion. The only thing I definitely disagree with is the change in the annual meeting date. And I would be wanting to amend our motion to strike the words the fourth Monday of April and reinstate the words the first Monday of June, and then otherwise approve it as written. Because I really think that moving it back gives us better data to work with. And I hadn't really thought of until Robin brought it up too. It gives us much more accurate and executable
Real time.
estimates. When people provide us, this is gonna cost you $221,000 for a front-end loader. That estimate's much better 1 month later than it is 9 to 12 weeks later. Well, 9 to 10 weeks later.
I agree with that, but there's a motion, what do we do? There's a motion on the table, we vote on that and switch it, or just change it, or how does that work?
We're in discussion right now.
Well,
That
that doesn't
motion-
name it a motion, no?
Yeah, we have a motion to approve it as written. I'm just saying the one thing.
I'm in agreement with the same thing, leaving that as is, except for the date of the town meeting. As far as that, keep that the same. Other than that, the rest is good good work,
Anyone
so.
else have any feelings on it? Short term right now.
Huh? Yeah, we are short for people, but, I mean, we've got to get stuff
We've
done.
got to get stuff done. So.
All right, all right.
I don't think it's going to change the attendance, and I know of other towns that have their meetings earlier than June,
So let's
Westboro, where I
move the
family
motion.
lives, but,
Call for a
She's
vote.
making, no, she's making a
Oh.
comment.
no, just a comment.
I'm sorry.
No, it was just, it is a comment that I don't think is going to change anything.
Yeah. I don't think so.
But it sounds like the charter committee thinks that there's a possibility, and if it will encourage more attendance, I'm for it, but I'm not convinced that it will.
I'm not either, but.
So I guess that's kind of a useless comment, but
No, I think you're right on target. I've been going to the meetings for a long time, and there's no change when the meeting's held, even unless there's a really hot button topic. It's the same group of people who do that. All right. Any other comments? So then, all those in favor of approving Article 46 as written? 4. And those opposed? So that's 4-2, and the motion passes. Okay. Great, thank you very much. Thank you for coming and keep informing us, and
We'll see you at town meeting.
Sure.
You know, even though it's May, this is clearly an august body.
Thank you so much.
thank you. Thank you for your time. All right. So,
Kevin?
is someone speaking?
Yes.
You are solo, Barbara. Go ahead, but we'll try and listen.
Maybe Bruce could turn up the volume of the speakers in the room?
I don't
That
know.
might work. Can you hear me now?
A little bit, yes.
Can he turn the volume up?
Okay, Annie is on the call, or on the meeting, and I was wondering if you could go to the Capitol article so that she could speak about the Turner's Field fencing so that she doesn't have to stay on longer than she already has.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that who caller 1 was. I assumed that's who that is.
It's okay. It's okay.
Let's see, what article is that? That is, I know I got it in yellow because we still have to vote it. It's Article 20, Capital Improvement Plan. Okay.
Oh, fencing, 35?
Yeah, that's the 35,840 number. And then we were given an estimate today for just improving it would be 2,830, I think the number was.
2,830 for repairs
Yeah.
to the existing fence,
So does that fall under capital then, technically? It's under
under
$5,000?
$5,000.
Well, I mean, why do we still, I mean, the email I sent out said we still feel we need to go forward with, almost a $36,000 expenditure. Why? Let's go with that answer.
Sure, I'd love to speak on that. So we brought Steadfast back to the property to give us.
Hang on a second.
the
I'm sorry
quote.
to interrupt you, but we really need to, can you go talk? Yeah, we really having a hard time hearing.
So Kevin, at the beginning of the meeting, you could hear me fine, right?
No, you're about the same volume. I expected that it would be better with a quiet room, but you, Robin, and Annie have quite differing volumes. So I don't know if it's all your speakers or, your microphones you're using or whatnot, but you're all low, and Annie is really low.
Maybe if we shut. In my room, it's really loud.
Really?
Help to shut these off.
What's funny is I can hear Annie well and Barbara.
Right, that's what Bruce is saying. He can hear it all, but we can't hear it here.
You want to hear through my monitor?
If we can try, I mean, anything's better than what we've got. All right, if you want to start again, maybe we get a little better.
Sure, I'll try it again. So we did bring Steadfast back to the property to review
I
if
can't
it's
hear you.
possible to get that quote for just repairs and what
Yeah,
that
wait,
would look like.
hang
for the
on a
project.
second.
Echo.
No, no, what we're getting is the time difference between it when it goes through
Oh,
his
I see.
system and our system. So we can't leave the door open because we're gonna have that.
No, he would have to close the door.
Yeah, Bruce,
Oh, you get the echo?
well, no, it's the time difference. I don't know if,
Synced?
yeah, it goes faster through Bruce's system than it gets here. All righty. I don't know what to say other than trying to turn up the volume on your mic, on your PC that you're using, because usually that's an adjustable level as well. That's our mic. That's okay. I don't know if you want to go that low. You want that at 60. All right, stop right there. All right. We can try again. That's all I can offer.
Have so much.
Okay, try again.
Oh, wait, that's better all of a sudden.
I think this was on Zoom.
Oh, all right, let's go. All right, keep going. We've got you good right now.
Okay, so the quote that we received, the 2,800, that's really more of a Band-Aid fix. That addresses only certain parts of the top rails, basically what is rusted and fully out of the structure and become more of a dangerous hazard than anything else. So we're able to buy a little bit of time with these minor repairs, but there's a couple of points that aren't addressed. A big portion of the project is upgrading the field to the 8-foot fencing. It is an adult baseball field. It's ages 17 and up. So we have constant issues with the balls that are going into the river and the wetlands. So we were hoping, if we're going to invest the money on these repairs, we'd like to do it right, make the most optimal design for the field. So we did get the quote for just the temporary repairs because we do have those immediate safety concerns down there. But we were hoping that capital and finance would consider redoing the fencing to its full need.
Who plays on this field besides the laid-back league?
So it's for ages 17 and up.
Yeah, and who is that specifically? Besides the laid-back
to our
league, which is
adult
19 and up. Does anyone else play on that field? Baseball, I mean, hardball.
Yep, so for baseball, it's ages 17 and up.
I
And we also
understand that,
have the
Annie.
laid-back
Who
league,
specifically,
program.
age 17 and up, plays on that field in addition to the laid-back league? I know that the Legion team doesn't play there, they play at Tantascwa. So who's the 17 and up groups that play on that field besides the 19 and up laid-back league? All I could locate anywhere on the internet, on the website, anything, was the laid-back league using that major league-sized diamond to play hardball. 19 and up, the laid-back league. As far as I know, they're the only ones that use it. Is there anybody else using that field to play hardball besides that league?
So through our Sturbridge Little League program, they have their own teams that are playing down at that location.
They're
Laid-back
playing on
is
that
its own
field?
independent
Little League
league.
is playing on that field?
Little League has primary use of the field.
It has 90-foot bases and a 60-foot mound.
Meet with them.
That's a major league-sized baseball field. In Little League, the bases are 60 feet, that diamond is 90 feet. The pitching distance in Little League is 40 feet. That's a major league diamond. The pitching distance is 60 feet, 6 inches. That's a major league-size infield, and the bases are in place. Because I went by there today for the second time to check out this proposal. So I'm just asking, who's using it that's 17 and up? That's not Little League. So I'm just curious, who's using that league besides the
So we have 3 different organizations or 3 different programs that put in their usage requests. So it's a combination of Sturbridge Little League, Legion Ball has their requests every single year, and then Laid Back Competitive has their requests has grown significantly over the years.
So Little League is playing on a major league size field? That's what you're telling me?
Ages 17 and up play at that location.
That's not Little League.
Hang on, go
It
ahead.
goes through the program. So I have 3 independent organizations that are reserving the property.
Well, I
Then
don't,
we have a lot of people who are playing on our outfield now, and those are the ones who have actually brought the concerns of the fencing condition up to us when we have lacrosse and football on the outfield.
well, see, that's a little different, because that means it's not baseball being played there, it's lacrosse and football. Okay, so it's being used for other than baseball on the outfield surface? That was my question. What else
Yeah,
is
we
being
have,
done there?
that's among with the
Okay.
other fields in terms of everyone fighting for some
I-
field space.
I should have expanded my question. I was asking specifically what baseball was being played on that field. Okay.
Do you
So
wanna- wait,
the other question I have is, for the other sports, lacrosse and football, does the fence come into any type of consideration? I mean, basically, to me, the fence in the outfield is to keep a batted ball from going off the field. Unless it's a home run, then it's over the fence anyway. But I didn't see any application to that fence being repaired, now that you mentioned lacrosse and football, that it has any relevance to lacrosse or football to fix the fence, so. I have a whole list.
The safety
I've walked the
concerns
field
with the
twice.
fallen and the rock
Okay.
right next to where they're playing is what brought it to our attention.
Elisa, you want to make a comment?
I just want to let you know my own understanding of that is, if she's referring to the Little League, when you get out of 12, there's a 13-14 and maybe 14-15, and I believe they play down there on that size field. At least, I believe that's what they do then, and perhaps fall ball as well.
I believe at 14 or 15, you go to 75 or 90-foot bases. But that's a major league infield. That's a 90-foot baseline. Those bases are 90 feet apart.
Okay,
And the mound is 60 feet 6 inches, which is the same as the Red Sox use. So that's not Little League. That's Legion size, and those kids are done at 19, which is why the laid-back league exists, for those young men that turn 19 that want to continue to play. And there's no organized type of thing, around here anyway, to allow them to continue to do that, so they put together their own organization. So, I had a couple of questions, Andy. It says here we're going to add a gate. Is that a second gate to the one that's already there?
So the gate needs to be expanded to be able to fit the DPW equipment. Right now, we have the minor gate down there, but we're not able to get anything through in terms of the brush clearing. So that's also a request from DPW.
Okay. Yeah, because there was a gate in center field that someone yanked off the pins. It was laying on the ground.
Yeah, that's fully rusted.
The other thing I noticed that in right field, where you mentioned that, well, the fence is about 15 or 16 feet high from the foul line to right center field, you have significant tree growth hanging over the field. As much as 15 feet of tree limbs are hanging over right field and right center field. That might be something for DPW. And the comment about the stuff that's growing through the chain link, excuse me if I say this, but that's just poor maintenance. Somebody should have been down there trimming that stuff and getting it, and it still can be done to pull that out of the chain link material. And the daylilies, et cetera, that are growing inside the fence all along the outfield, but on the playing side of the fence, that's what maintenance should be taking care of that too. We shouldn't have tulips and lilies growing on the playing surface. So I think that, I don't know, does the town, DPW do the maintenance there?
Yep, so that's where the request for the double gate to come into play,
Well-
so they're able to access the fencing.
Well, DPW has their work cut out for them, because there's a lot of cleanup to be done there, if the season's going to begin. Anyway,
So you're saying there's already a 16-foot fence there?
in right field, from right field foul pole to right center field, the fence is already 15 to 16 feet high. It's a double-high fence. And if anyone hits one ball over that fence, unless it hits a tree, it's already in the river,
Yeah, I was good.
because the river's only 10 feet from that fence, so if a tree doesn't stop it, it's going to be floating down the Quinnebog. And left field is sufficiently long, and if the people, and Elise, you can tell me this, the gentlemen that are playing there in their 20s or whatever, post-high school, probably working folks, you know, I don't know how many home runs they hit, but if the river's in play, God bless America, I'm happy for them.
Yeah, I will share, it's a very competitive league. We do get calls from, anything from our residents who are down there, walking the perimeter, people spend time on the field, but it's been ever since I've been into the department, and I know that our previous rec director used to receive the same complaints about the balls going into the woods. So for I believe it's just over 500 feet is the below 5-foot fencing. So that is an issue down at the field for us, especially given how much the laid back league has grown.
It's not 500 feet unless Mickey Mantle's playing down there. It's probably about 320, but well, we've put some bucks into it in recent years. We put 2 new dugouts, we put 2 new sets of bleachers, and we redid the infield last year, so we haven't exactly been scrimping on maintaining that field. I'd just like to point that out. And I believe for slightly more than what they quoted, we could repair that fence and get another umpteen years out of it. It's not falling down, it just needs to be maintained and repaired. And I have a second question. Did we get a second bid on this? I see we got one bid to repair the field for $28.30 from Steadfast Fence. The original bid, and now I'm getting in the weeds, for $35,840. Is that a single bid, or did we get multiple bids on that?
That's a single bid in order to get the quote for our request. So then before we're able to move forward, we'd have to receive 3 different quotes.
So before you would ask for us to approve the $35,840, you would get 3 bids, I would think?
No, before we're able to spend that, we would have to have the 3 bids and go with the lowest.
Okay, well,
Wait a minute.
But it's
that's...
pretty hard to get some companies to come out to the town, so we're lucky to get the call back from
I'll
Steadfast.
just speak to
Not
the board.
everyone was
I couldn't vote
interested in
for the full
project,
amount.
but we've
unless
tried to reach out to other companies.
I couldn't vote for the full amount until I saw bids.
I'd like to make a motion. Go ahead. I'd like to make a motion that we repair the fence and have the DPW assign somebody to clean up the fence.
Well, that's outside of our scope, but...
No, well, no, it's not. We can, what you would do is, I was thinking the same thing. You would actually change the amount, right? We would amend the article so that the amount, instead of being $35,840, would be $28.30, and then the total would now become $664,450.
Okay. So you want me to amend my amendment?
I don't think anyone seconded yours yet, so you could just take mine and run with it.
I'll take yours and I'll take mine off the table.
Okay. So,
Can I just make a comment?
please.
Not that it's gonna change what you do, but I just want everyone to understand that for budgeting purposes, all the departments, when they provide cost estimates for what we're doing, none of those amounts have gone through the procurement process. Those are strictly quotes that are gotten from some vendors who are willing to give us a ballpark estimate of what we're looking to do. So we do not procure any service until after the money is approved at town meeting and then the new fiscal year starts. So I just want everyone to understand that. That's what Annie's doing with the one quote for this fencing is no different than all the different amounts, the loader, the street sweeper, all, the vehicles being purchased through capital or betterment. Those are all just budgetary estimates of what we will need for funding. And that is standard practice.
No, thank you for the clarification. I guess I go to the question I'm thinking of is, the fence looks in a state of disrepair and like there's never been maintenance done. I mean, you look at the pictures you sent us and you've got ivy growing on them, you've got, and you're rather thick ones, so it's been going for a long time. So we're going to throw $36,000 for an 8-foot fence, and then we're going to, in 10 years, we're going to be back to the same thing where no one's maintaining it and keeping it clean and serviceable. It's throwing good money after bad.
So we have spoken with DPW to see what needs they have in order to begin maintaining that fence line, and the request was for the 8-foot gate. That way they can clean it up the same way we do at Town Barn. But discussions with DPW and property maintenance on that gate came into play when getting this quote.
I guess then where's the maintenance been for the last 10 years? I mean, that's not new growth
There
on
was
those
the
fences.
L-brush, and I'm not sure what other products they have to use to cut, but at least at Town Barn, when they use the L, they need to be behind the gate in order to pull the brush back behind the fencing.
Now they do, but I don't. I guess I have a frustration that I have no guarantee that if we spend this money and put in, an 8-foot fence from where the 16-foot fence ends all the way around to the corner, that we're going to get any maintenance on it until it's into another state of disrepair or another tree limb falls down on it and cracks the top of the fence. You're not giving me any guarantees that you're going to stay on top of maintenance.
I think that the evidence is there between Recreation Department and DPW, what we've done with the fields over the past couple of years. Full maintenance plans are being developed. If you look at what we were able to do in the combination, there's obviously teamwork aligned here, but I would hope that every department would continue to do their role and their expectations moving forward.
So you have a documented maintenance plan for that field?
Well, we're working on creating one for all of the town fields at this time.
Okay.
That's through a professional company that we've just hired.
Oh, you've hired a consultant to help develop the plans? Is that what I just heard you say?
Yep, that's part of the soil testing project that we have underway. So it's going to give us more insight to our field conditions, but it's providing a maintenance plan for DPW as well.
Oh, I thought Robin was going to say something there for a second. Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there's been a lot, there's been neglect for the few fields that we do have. And really, Heather and Annie have taken a lead on trying to rectify that, because we do invest money, but it's putting good money after bad if we don't maintain, to your point, Kevin. So there is an effort to really start to take this on and upgrade our fields, because they don't look good.
All right. Okay. So I know.
You made a motion, right?
I did not. Are you still satisfied with the motion?
Yeah, I'm still satisfied that I think we just repair the fence.
Yeah, so
we go with
Mike's motion would be to amend the article to change the amount for Turner's Field fencing to $2,830, which would make the total for the entire article $664,450. Now, I don't have a second.
I'll second that. I'm in favor of repairing the fence.
Okay. So we're going to amend
It's got to be fixed. I mean,
to change Turner's Field fencing to
talking about looks like
$2,830.
spaghetti on its couple of sections. It's like,
I agree, and I'd like to see, $2,800 to me seems like short money to do the repairs to maybe make it safer. And then when we have these actually documented maintenance plans, and you're going to have maintenance schedules that say the DPW is going to be here, once a month, 3 times a month, whatever the maintenance schedule you come up with, then maybe we look at, I guess I'm in the show me mood right now. I want you to show me that you can maintain the field, and then, we spend bigger money.
compared to $36,000, it's short money, and it's a reasonable, not an exorbitant bid that they're putting in to fix it. But in pricing it out, they're doing okay. They're not going to get hurt by doing it for $2,830.
We need to cut some of the trees back so they don't land on the top of the fence and bend the pole,
Well, yeah, they have to trim the trees in right field that are hanging 15 feet over the 15-foot
Yeah,
fence.
I just look at it like,
Hanging over onto the
if
field.
they haven't done anything now, we put a new fence in, they're still not gonna do anything later.
And the only problem they're going to have there is that those trees that they have to trim are close enough to the river that now we have to get involved with the Conservation Commission, I would guess, because they're within 15 feet of the riverbank, those trees. So there's other issues involved here, but somebody's got to get on it, because those trees are getting big, and those limbs are going to fall on the fence eventually.
Maybe the motion, what we had passed for $100,000 for trimming the trees, maybe take some of that money and trim the trees there.
I think it's a good idea, but I don't think it's up to us to dictate that, Ken.
Right.
You know, but somebody ought to use that, ought to listen to what you just said.
Okay.
You can review it next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, any other questions or comments? Nope. So we have a first and a second. Larry, you look puzzled, do you not?
I am. Silly me, would you please explain what the $2,830 accomplishes?
It would repair the fence that is currently there so that it's not a safety hazard.
And is this to...
It repairs very minimal portions of the fencing, just so that's clear.
Right.
So it repairs 5 top rails and then 6 sections of 4-foot fencing.
Thank you.
So that's just what's rusted, what's sticking out, and it's giving our biggest, endangerment. We're not able to just repair any of the chain link, anywhere that has the overgrowth that's gone too far, that's beyond repair. So this is basically zero to minimal repair, but it comes down to 5 top rails, and then 6 sections.
And Larry, I'll contradict that for one thing there. There's stuff growing between the chain link that was allowed to get out of hand. With a pair of loppers cutting it off at the bottom, repair work gloves, most of that stuff can be pulled right out of the chain link. I walked the field twice along that fence, both directions twice. This is not an unreasonable, to clean all that stuff out that's entangled in the chain link fence is something DPW could do in a morning.
Are these funds to remedy an oversight?
The top rail of the chain link fence in several areas is bent and disconnected. Either someone climbed on it, something fell on it, a tree or something, but they have to be replaced because there's like 10-foot sections of pipe.
Wait, have you seen the pictures that were sent?
Yeah.
Okay.
But my question, I understand what you've just said, and thank you. My question was different. It was not what happened. It's, is this correcting an oversight?
The only oversight has to be corrected is they have to keep after that growth to make sure it doesn't grow back up through the fence and continue to happen.
Without the 2830, it can't be done.
No, the 2830 will just be able to replace the damaged components of the fence. Somebody has to do the landscape work there to cut off all that growth that's winding through the chain links that grew up.
And we can earmark that funds for that purpose?
No, this is just for the repair of the fence. The landscape stuff is going to have to be done, I would assume, by DPW to clean up.
It's the same people who would maintain it, but it sounds
Because to do the repairs that are necessary doesn't necessitate cutting all that stuff out of the way. They can repair around that, but if they don't cut that stuff out, it's just, eventually the outfield fence is going to look like a 4-foot tall bush.
Does Recreation want this money for that purpose?
To repair the fence?
The 2830?
That's strictly to repair the fence.
Do they want this money?
No, they want $35,840.
And so we are remedying...
But Annie got a bid to repair the fence that was included today.
Wait, go ahead, Larry.
We are remedying a problem that the direct department is ignoring, or doesn't know how to handle, or doesn't have the money, but now they would if this passes? Why would we do what is proposed in the motion? Not what it will do. Why is this committee stepping in and giving itself the nomenclature of junior recreation department?
Okay, my 2 cents on that one? We don't have any evidence that there's ever been a maintenance plan, that there's ever been any maintenance done there, because some of this growth is not recent growth. It's been there for a long period of time. So no one's taken any effort yet to keep growth from actually destroying the fence, whether it's growing over and falling down on it or growing up through it. So maintenance is been woefully inadequate. So I'm willing to put a Band-Aid on the thing for right now to get the fence back to where it's safe until I see the maintenance plans put in place that says we're going to maintain this before I'm willing to drop another $34,000 to replace the entire length of fence.
Well,
And
then
I'll
that-
further answer your question. If we can repair this fence and get it all cleaned up and get it back to where it's a usable fence, I don't see the need to even do this project. I think it's a waste of money. It's like gilding the lily. We have a 15-foot-high fence in right field where the river's a factor. It's 4 feet everywhere else, but most fences on most ball fields are 4 feet high when they're that kind of a distance. The people playing on this field, most of them are incapable of hitting a ball that far. The only reason the fence is there is to keep the ball from rolling through into the woods. So it's unnecessary.
Now, I understand all of that. Thank you. I'm asking a different question.
You're asking why we're imposing
Who
that?
made us in charge of cleaning up what the Recreation Department happens to think is their jurisdiction?
Okay, so then would you recommend actually represent 0 because it's not a worthwhile activity?
What, if we do this,
We've done this in the past. It's not a new thing for us.
then why don't we tell the police chief how the patrol patterns ought to be done? Why don't we tell the librarian
Because-
which books to hire or to
That's
bring
not an
in?
expenditure of taxpayers' money or free cash money. This is an expenditure they're asking for, and we're trying to determine if it's a valid expenditure. Now,
But they
based
didn't
on
ask
what-
for it.
Huh?
They didn't ask for this
They
28.
asked for 36,000. That's what they asked for, 36,000.
To put a new fence.
And-
I know Lee has been waiting really patiently, and we're going back
All
and
right.
forth, so go ahead, Lee.
When the subject of fields came up a couple of years ago, one of the primary complaints accompanied by photos was that we're not taking care of the fields we have, so why should we put in a new one? Since that time, anecdotally, just as you have examined Turner Field, Jim, I have seen a dramatic improvement in the fields at the elementary school and fields behind the town barn, so I do see some progress towards taking care of what we have. If Turner Field hasn't been reached yet by those efforts, I will accept that the Recreation Department and the Highway Department are aware of that and are working toward that goal. I acknowledge everything that the two of you are seeing. I was one of the townspeople that said, you can't take care of what you have now, why do you want a new one? So I get all of this, but I do agree with Larry, and I was going to say it before he said it in a more eloquent way. I trust our department heads to know what they're asking for and why, and I did appreciate Barbara Barry's additional commentary saying these are ballparks and they will have to get bids when the time comes in. So I wouldn't approve changing it. I would, there's not another need for another motion, but I would approve the motion as written.
And I'll be even more abrupt than I was before. This is an unnecessary expense based on the conditions down there now. If what we have in existence right now
I totally
is
heard you.
repaired and cleaned up, this is, to use an expression of someone Larry and I both know, this is gilding the lily. This is unnecessary. The fence that's there now will serve the purpose. Once it's repaired for the $2,800, the field will be totally functional. The other things they have to do is clean up the stuff that's growing along the fence. That has nothing to do with the fence. The trees that are hanging over the fence by 15 feet, branches hanging over the outfield fence on the 15 high-foot fence. Well, when those branches come down, that fence isn't going to be 15 feet high anymore. When are they going to cut the branches? The maintenance is pathetic on that field, and I've walked it twice. A month ago I walked it, this afternoon I walked it, and no one's done a thing down there. And I don't blame Annie for this. Maybe she's thinking if I get a new field and a new fence, it'll finally get cleaned up. Well, someone's dropped the ball there and hasn't done the job, and that's why we have a mess. And it can still be cleaned up for $3,000. So, just my opinion.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? So we have a motion to amend the article to change the amount of Turner Field fencing to $2,830 and otherwise approve the article as written. Just need to note that.
Mike, is that your motion?
Yeah, Mike, and then you second. I just, otherwise approve as written. I forgot to note that right there. All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a vote on that amended article. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Those opposed? So it's 4-3, so the motion passes. Okay. Any other comments? All right, so let's go back.
Well, just chime in to say thank everyone for their time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
And look forward to getting your polls underway.
Thanks, Annie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, so going back to the line item budget, I'm just going to confirm this. The only thing I see missing there is any action related to the police department, and Joe said he would take care of that next week. Everyone's in agreement, otherwise everything else is voted.
Yes.
So,
We voted everything now?
yeah.
Except the police department.
Except for the police department,
Yeah.
which Joe. All right. So if we go back to the annual town meeting warrant, I'm going to walk through, we're using, now for the record, and I know we've taken some votes, I didn't note this, but we're using the ones I sent out, that's the 04 ATM warrant with board votes, and then the 05 STM warrant with, STM June 2023 with board votes.
And we're picking up the 27 tonight?
I was going to go right from the beginning because there's other ones, like Article 2, we have not voted.
I'll stay out of you running your meeting.
That's okay.
I thought we were
Just
picking
think
up
of
the
it this way,
27.
anything that's highlighted in yellow, we need to act on. That's why
Okay.
it's yellow. So someone put the verbiage in there, but we really didn't vote on that one yet. And I'm trying to remember, did Barbara send us that today? CPC report to the
Yes, I
Finance
did.
Committee, that
Yeah.
did come.
That was sent.
I didn't see it.
It was a series, it was an email from Barbara with 3 attachments. It was called Financial Information for Back of FinCom book. It has
Oh.
the outstanding debt, revolving funds, and the CPC report. So, do I have a motion to approve Article 2 as written? Basically, all we do is take that
So moved.
report and put it in the back. Do I have a second to Lee's first? Larry? All right. Well, any other questions or comments related to this article? So all those in favor? 7-0. So let me change this while I'm here, so it's formatted nicely. Voted 7-0-2-0. All right, so moving on down, did 3, 4. So Article 6, Community Preservation Fiscal Conservation Restriction. I don't have that we acted on this. Go ahead, Robin, you gonna say something?
Tabled it to,
Yeah, I got a little information. Let me just pull up my information from Becky. You all had asked, what happened was apparently this was a right of first refusal property. It got done at the last minute. So the original money to put toward the CR was never in, which is why they came back to ask. She said it usually is included, but because it was such a last minute thing, it probably just did not get in. She said she may not need all the funds, but she needs that much to ensure if the survey costs go higher than they expect. We do need an endowment for any land trust of 70,000, basic lines of demarcation for recording, et cetera. She did say this, as I indicated to you, we have to put it under a CR. We have not determined who will hold that CR, but by law, it has to be in the CR. And it is a property that is under the Board of Selectmen. This particular one is under the Board of Selectmen. It was purchased generally for recreation, not specifically passive or active, just straight recreation it was purchased for. The board has not made a decision on what the plans are yet, and the board has not voted on who will hold the CR because we don't have the funding to do that yet.
When you say board in that sense, that's, the Conservation Commission hasn't made that
No.
decision? The Board of Selectmen?
No, Board of Selectmen. So they will decide on an entity, presumably with a recommendation from myself and Becky.
Okay.
Can I get up to speed on this a little bit? Whereabouts is this parcel on Fisk Hill?
Okay, going back to our discussion, you
Yeah.
know where Stages' home is?
Yeah.
Then there's the boathouse.
Yeah.
And there's where the dog grooming house is. There's a little road that goes back in there.
Yes.
That house, the whole next property, that's where it is. It goes back down in there and wraps around towards Old Farm Road. It's where they had proposed to put a solar farm in
Okay.
not too long ago, and even before that, there was a housing development put there. You know that
It goes all the way
area?
down, it goes all the way down the hall, doesn't it? Doesn't go that far? I walked it. It was-
I don't know if
wasn't-
it
wasn't
goes
cleared
all the
yet.
way down the hall, but it comes close.
Yeah,
I think it goes
okay.
to the OFS Fitel property, or whatever
Yeah.
that business is called, and then there's,
It's hoped to fit in with the master plan that you'll be able to walk from Fisk Hill all the way down to the
Yes,
common.
yeah, that came up
Yes.
last year. Larry, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're in that area, but that was one of the attractions to it, that it would connect down by OFSL Patel across Hall Road and then continue into a trail on the other side of Hall Road, yeah. So that was one of the appeals to it, and it's like 26 acres or something, was it?
It was a lot of land.
Piece of
It was a lot of
property,
land.
yeah. Yeah, but that was the attraction, that we could connect it.
so.
I'm good. I just was trying to get up to speed, that's all.
So Robin, I do have a question for you. Going forward, the typical practice is to include this funds in the original purpose, in the original purchase article, right?
As I understand it from Becky, yes, typically that is what happens. This had been the first time it was a right of first refusal taken, I guess, in a long time. Things happened very last minute, and from the text that she sent me today, it did sound like it was more of an oversight, and everything just happened so quickly, it never got in.
Okay,
Because there was another buyer that wanted to sign a purchase and sale, so this town had to.
right.
Had to quick.
That was the nut farmer,
Yeah.
right? The alleged nut farmer.
All right.
No comment.
So we have Fisk Hill. All right, so do I have a motion to approve this article as written?
I'll second.
You can't second, you gotta move it first.
Second.
Okay, JW and LD.
Thought you had a motion.
I thought Mike had raised one.
Mike had a question.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So any other questions or comments related to Article 6? All those in favor? 4, 5, 6. So I will be abstaining. I'm not against it. I'm abstaining because it literally is right across the street from my property. So. Well, kitty corner, really. All right, so that's 601. Sorry, Lisa, I forgot to announce the vote. So Article 7, Community Preservation Senior Center renovation. You can see the motion is in yellow there. There's only a couple changes I made to what was actually given to me, and that's only for Barbara and Robbins, noting you didn't have the word 1,000 in the language. I added it to all the motions, and then I also capitalized in our motion the $1,780,000 in $100, and then reflected the cents in the number part. So the other motions I left the same, but our motion, I made those two changes, if we go forward with that motion. But that's the borrowing language based on that. I mean, we've had several discussions. Actually, aren't we waiting till next week? Because next week is when the bids open. So I'm going to take back that the bids open on the 18th. Yeah, so next week we'll actually
Time for
have
us to
it.
actually have them, or is it going to have to go to the 25th?
I don't know. When is the bid opening, Robin, on the 18th?
It's usually during the day, they do daytime, the building committee does daytime, so I believe it's 1 o'clock.
Oh, good.
So we'll know by the time this meeting occurs next Thursday what the real number.
I'll make sure we get them over to you as soon as we have an answer.
Okay, beautiful. Then we will wait on Article 6. We did 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can see I kind of tried to format this whole thing. So Article 15 is the town budget.
Gotta wait for police.
We gotta wait for police. Let's see.
Ooh, I saw yellow.
Yeah, capital improvement, that's the one that we just did. I need to put the motion in there. All right, since I have it, I'll just write it later on, but we did that.
Did we approve the farmer's market revolving fund?
No. That's coming up, right?
Yeah, it's 28.
I couldn't find a vote for that anywhere, so I don't think we did that.
And I think I saw that was.
I just wrote it today, so it's different language than you had, so you did not. I asked you to hold.
Okay, that's what it was.
What's that going to be? Barbara, did I see somewhere that was going to be $10,000? Farmer's market?
Yes,
Okay.
it's in the next article, which you also still need to vote.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, here we go, yeah.
Okay.
There it is, Sturbridge Farmer's Market, yeah.
So Article 28, going to hear a motion.
On 28?
Yeah, first we established the revolving fund,
Which
and
one
then
did-
we authorized.
Which one did Barbara just ask us to
28,
hold
yeah.
off on?
She didn't. She said, she changed the language
Oh,
when we
okay.
had
I thought
held
she
on it
said she-
previously.
held off
Oh, I thought she was going to change, like, okay, yeah, okay. I'll make a motion, unless someone else, that we recommend to town meeting that we approve Article 28 as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We, okay. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor? 7-0. All right, let me just note that. All right, so then we go to Article 29. This establishes the spending limits for all of the revolving funds that we currently have. Do I have a motion to approve the article as written or some other motion?
Yeah, my motion.
Kathy? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Lee? Any additional questions or comments? All those in favor? 7-0. Okay. Article 30, this is the water department. Do we have our numbers? 49. And this, so I take it that this, you're saying this is an 8.7% increase over last fiscal year?
Yes.
And this, the $50,000 is going to be added to the reserve account. What is that going to make the balance in the water department?
No, so that reserve account is similar to the reserve account that the Finance Committee has control over. So if we have any expenditures that are unforeseen, it allows us to move money and be able to cover those expenses because we can't go to the reserve fund.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anything built in here to replenish that fund balance?
No, no.
Was there any discussion to replenish the fund balance?
So we actually trimmed this, both this budget and the sewer budget from what was needed for some capital and miscellaneous expenses to keep the rate increase at this level. So no. Unfortunately, the only thing that will help the reserve fund is if there's any expenditures, any of the budget that's not expended. We do know we need to start going, we have to start looking at that, but it's difficult to do when we're seeing such substantial increases to the rate.
I guess I look at it and say, how do you see it not going up for the foreseeable future and then still not build in, reserves, I guess, in general?
Yeah, it is going to continue to go up because the costs of running both the water and the sewer department continue to go up.
So basically we have, it is what it is situation with no political will to increase the balance. Okay.
Well, I mean, realistically, this is what we put in front of the board. It's not that they said no. We put this in front, understanding that on sewer, there had been, I believe, a 25% increase last year. It changed this year, and frankly, it seemed it seemed hefty. We did trim in areas that we thought we didn't have to spend, but it would have been hard to make that trim argument and then have arguments to put, funding back into reserves. In the end, the only way this grows is through customers.
But I guess I'm confused, because Barbara made the statement that you cut this number, so you didn't actually give the Board of Selectmen the true number to consider, and they asked you to go back and trim it. You trimmed the number and gave them this number.
Well, like we do with every budget, we get a recommendation from a department, then we go through with that department and say, are there ways we can do this a little financially leaner this year? And that's what we did.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I was under the impression, maybe I read too much into the statements being made, that you gave the Board of Selectmen a higher number and they came back with the lower number.
No.
Nah, that's good.
No.
Thank you for explaining that. That's much
No, that was a
different.
recommendation from us. Nope, I own that one.
Okay, no, thank you. I'm glad you clarified that.
And my understanding, I forget whether it was the water or sewer, maybe correct me, but at one point we had a surplus of cash, and we basically offset some of the increases to the residents via the surplus. In other words, we artificially
We kept the rates artificially low.
artificially low, and that's put us in a position now, all of a sudden we come back and say now it's 25%.
Total cost.
So I guess my point is, in the future, we should probably, I think they probably would appreciate now if they were getting a 3% increase or whatever the real rate was all along, then get hit with these higher rates, because we were using artificial surpluses, well, real surpluses, to artificially keep their costs down. That doesn't seem reasonable to me to do it that way in the future.
Okay.
So if I could comment.
Sure,
We were using fund balance to, as Kevin said, to keep the rate lower, but that hit last year with the rates because we weren't able to continue to do that. So what you're seeing in this rate increase is actually just the cost of the services and the expenses of the water and sewer department. So the increase is not due to the fact that we were using the fund balance in prior years, because we already addressed that.
So this is an actual reflection
in
of...
fiscal '22.
Yeah, so just to, I guess, paraphrase what you're saying, or repeat it, I guess. This is a reflection of the actual year-over-year increase of what it actually costs to run the water department, in this case.
Correct.
Thank you. All right, so on Article 30, I'll entertain a motion to approve the article as written.
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
A second.
Mike? Okay. Any other questions or comments related to Article 30? All those in favor?
There you go.
Opposed? So it's 6-1.
Pretty reasonable.
Okay. Article 31, the sewer department. So I assume it's the same situation as the water department. You came up, developed the budget, and this is the number that was brought forward.
Yeah, and I apologize, I think I referenced the 25% increase. That was on the sewer last year. I think I referenced it in the water, but the philosophy is the same on these.
Yep. Oh, I appreciate that. All right, any other additional?
Was there a discussion last year with tying it in with Southbridge? Wasn't there a whole back and forth with that? Is that still viable? Did it go away? Was it still there, not there? Did we decide we're going to go on our own versus, I know there's some kind
That
of...
contract is signed. That's
So-
one portion, one area where we don't have a pump station. We did buy some land for a pump station, potentially, which we may do going forward. But at this point, with some of the major sewer repairs we have, that you've been voting on through this process, we just could not justify the millions that it's going to take right now to build a pump station when we have a reasonable cost right now going to Southbridge. We have an out in that contract, though, that if at any point we decide we want to build our own pump station, we can get out.
Yeah, no, it sounded like a lot of emotion got tied in the last time this was discussed, or whatever, a year plus ago, so yeah, it's fine, sounds smart to me.
There is no.
Just one question, how long is that contract with Southbridge? Is it 5 years, 10 years, longer, less?
I think it was, I believe we did a 5-year, but we can get out of it within, give it a year's notice. I can confirm that for you, but we have an out. The out clause for me was what was important.
Okay.
Smart.
I'll check if it was 5 with renewables. I think it may have been that, but I'll let you know.
Yeah, that'd be great, thank you. All right, do I have a motion on Article 31, the sewer department budget? Ken's approve as written. Do I have a second? Mike? Any further discussion? All those in favor? That's 7-0. Okay. Sewer project we took care of. Inflow we took care of. Stormwater, tree removal. Cooper Road culvert. Here, the only thing here is the explanation of our no action vote, which I tried to get done. I mean, I wasn't too tickled pink with my own wording, but I have a alternative version to it too, and I'm willing to accept the alternative one in its entirety or change some of its wording. So the other version that I have in front of me says the Finance Committee's recommendation to take no action is not made in opposition to undertaking this project, which we in fact fully support. The committee's intent is to allow for town meeting to consider an alternative which we feel provides a more appropriate source of funding, namely Chapter 90 funds. Chapter 90 funds may be used for road construction, and we currently have approximately $3.6 million available. Using this source of funding instead of free cash would allow us to retain the $1 million unrestricted in our free cash balance, allowing greater flexibility on future expenditures.
Just the use of the word "we" is kind of cozy.
Okay.
If you would consider replacing every "we"
Yep.
with "committee,"
Okay.
capital C, I
Yep.
guess, and I'm not sure, I don't think there are any us's in there, but
So I see where you're going. No, I can change that to the committee everywhere it's
thank
there.
you.
And you, Lee, do you like that wording better? Okay.
It's less wordy than this box.
I know, I was trying to put a lot in there and it's just. All right, so I will take the secondary one and I will replace that wording you see with that.
With the corrections that Larry.
Yeah, I've already got that noted, yeah. Thank you, though, for just remembering, it will contain Larry's things. And you'll all see this again, so you can,
Goody.
yeah, so you can
was getting
review it and
worried.
make sure that it's aesthetically pleasing to the eye, because that's what I was trying to do with it today.
Or the wordsmith in me. Or the wordsmith in me.
Yeah, no, that was good. Let me just make sure I highlight that in yellow so I don't miss it when I go through. All right. So Article 37, we did. 38, we did. 39. We took care of that. There's a summary box missing for 39, though, and that's the one you sent me the text about. Yep, Gene's working on it.
Do you notice that it looks like a different font than the rest of it?
In the text of the article, it is, and I was afraid to change it, because, sometimes you change it and all those legal things get really screwed up. I don't know what you call that.
That's why I didn't touch it, Kevin.
Yeah, I've been there before where I have adjusted it, and then I've got everything wrong. So I did leave it, so. Those little subsection things, they get all screwed up.
Oh, yeah, they do sometimes.
Yeah, those are what get screwed up. All right, Article 40, we have not voted this. This is the Sturbridge Water Sewer Asset Management Plan. Whoops, I see a spelling error. 1,000 is missing an S. I'll take care of that.
Oh, yeah.
I missed that the first time. I know this is the language, but do we typically put with that whole language in here, but with what, 175,000 anticipating grant reimbursement? We're asking the town to basically put forth $125,000 from each of those funds, and that's really what we're asking them. If we get grant reimbursement, then we can apply it against it, but, I mean, that's not usually part of the article.
So Heather had indicated that this is the language that they want us to use.
Yes.
I'm just trying to remember. I need the semicolon before or take anything. That's just a minor change. I'm changing that one too. Okay.
What does it mean when it says equally? Are they both?
Well, they have reserve funds, so we're going to split 125,000 from each. That's how I read that. I mean, can a lawyer decipher that differently? I mean, you guys do that for a living, so there's ways to decipher words.
I guess a quick read made me think, are they both putting in 250 or is it half?
Oh. That's a good question. Is it $250,000 from each fund or $250,000 in total? Because I can see how you can read that.
Total.
Okay.
It says the total project cost of $250,000.
And maybe,
Yes.
Where does it say that? Oh, down in the summary
Dialogue
box.
box.
yeah, well,
Technically, we're only voting that language,
you only vote
but the
that
explanation is down here.
Yeah.
I hadn't gotten that far down yet, so.
Okay.
I was just trying to get up to speed with it.
Did you have a question related to it?
Nope.
Oh,
No, it's good.
all right. So then can if there are no other questions or comments related to Article 40, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
So moved to approve the article as written?
As written,
Okay.
with your semicolon.
Yeah, with my semicolon, yeah. So that's Lee is the first. Do I have a second? Larry?
And you're going to insert the S in thousand?
I already did.
Okay.
And I did the semicolon after list, too. All right, any other questions or comments? All those in favor? 7-0.
There is in the text box, it says reimbursed for, FOR. Do you need the word for?
No.
Oh, yeah, you don't.
No, you don't.
All right, that's removed. Okay, Article 41. This is we had a discussion about this several meetings back, so.
Should that be changed to personal?
Oops, damn. Okay,
Utility hole is what they're using.
Article 41, sewer line main, do I have a
Utility.
motion to approve the article as written?
So moved.
And
Question,
can you second
yeah.
it? Oh, wait. Let me get a second before you ask the
Oh, go,
question.
I'm sorry.
Is anyone willing to second?
Yeah, Article
Kathy?
41.
All right, so go ahead, Ken, what's your question?
So this is for, obviously sewer and the like, so people in the residence with septics and the like, right? Or now we're gonna start reimbursing for the sewer out of free cash, which comes
It's not
from,
coming out of free cash, it's coming out of the sewer reserve fund balance.
I thought it said the town will vote to transfer free cash some of that. That's not right?
No, that,
That's
there
what-
must
I
have
got
an
an
old
old
version. You have an old version, yeah.
I thought this
The new version is we'll vote to transfer
the new
from the
one?
sewer reserve fund balance.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, sorry about that.
That notion was,
I got two of them here to go on at the same
Robin
time.
had explained to us, that notion was floated, but before it got any traction, she maintained the original language, which was the source of the money would be the sewer reserve fund balance.
No, that's fine then. That's for me
Yeah.
to see.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm recalling that correctly. Robin, that was the one you
Yes.
put the kibosh on, right?
Yeah, we went back and forth, and then everybody kind of felt it belonged back at sewer.
That's good. Fine.
All right,
Sorry.
any additional questions or comments related to Article 41? All those in favor? 7-0. All right, let me note that. All right. So this is 131, this is the sewer main replacement, Article 130, on Route 131. Wow. So I just have one generic question related to this one. I thought at some point in time they were putting a rotary down there at the junction of 131 and 20. That was the state's grand plan. So why would we undertake that if that's coming?
So that's coming someday, like, we don't know when. I'm not trying to be flip.
No,
So,
no, I got you.
We are just, DOT, that's on their project. It is on the tip, that particular one. They have a plan for rotaries and corridor, the whole corridor change from up at the interstate down to 148. There's a 3-phase project. The 131 has gone through public hearings. That is still on their tip. I mean, it'll be a few years before it happens, though.
And this needs to be done. We can't wait for them to rebuild
No.
that whole thing.
No.
Now they're talking about one at the end of the hall.
I would be extraordinarily concerned about waiting on this.
Okay, fair enough. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, so do I have a motion on Article 42? Larry, do I have a second to approve it as written? Lee? Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? 7-0. All right. St. Anne, Fisk Hill, Stallion Hill, water tank maintenance and repair. Didn't we, not too long ago, actually go into Fisk Hill and re-enamel the inside and all that stuff? I thought.
Yeah, so some have been done, some need further repair. Let me just pull this up. And the Stallion Hill one needs major repair. I don't know specifically on Fisk Hill, but there is more work that needed to be done. And that one, it references the valve pits, which is different from the enameling.
St. Anne Tank does the valve pits. Fisk Hill talks about painting again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. And just so you know, there is one change in the text of that article. The word 1,000 is missing. I put the word 1,000 back in.
Okay, let me see if I can find what the Fisk Hill had. For the purpose of engineering potential. Interior evaluation, yeah. So I'll have to find out. I do not think they ended up enameling that
Okay.
Fisk Hill. They might have done something at St. Anne's before with that, but let me check.
Sure.
I have to look at my notes from Shane.
No.
So you're saying move forward with?
Yes.
Okay. So Jim makes a motion to approve Article 43 as written. Do I have a second? Lee? Why am I getting the sense that everyone feels like this is a death slog at this point? We just have to get it done.
It makes sense.
Need water.
Yeah. All right, Article 43, I have a first and a second to approve the article as written. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining?
I'm abstaining, because I think I have a bit of a conflict with the St. Anne thing, because
Okay.
I've been involved with something with the water tank with them, so.
So the vote is 6-0 to 1.
Avoid any appearance of
Right.
impropriety.
Yes, exactly. Not that
I get it.
everybody would
Okay.
take this out of it.
Article 44, concrete tank repair at wastewater treatment plant. $50,000. You know, I highlighted the summary box in this particular article because it really means nothing to me.
Right, this is one that I'm waiting for some information from Heather that I texted you.
Oh, it's that one, okay, this is the one you're talking about.
Yep.
Beautiful.
So that's a next week thing?
Well, you want to wait to the explanation?
I
We
won't be
can,
here next
I
week.
mean-
I'm not here next week, so, but I'm sure I'll watch it on replay.
All right. Is anyone willing to make a motion to approve Article 44 as written? Larry, do I have a second? Kathy? All right, any further questions or comments? We will have an updated summary box in the near future. All those in favor? 7-0. Let me just change this here.
We're skipping back on this thing.
All right, so I'll leave that yellow so I know to update that summary box. Old Sturbridge Village water line design work, Article 45. It's a very interesting one.
Is that the one with the shut-off is underneath?
Underwater, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one.
it'd be a good idea to do this.
Yeah.
Let's get your scuba on.
So, Mr. Water, do I take that as a motion?
Yes, that's a motion, yeah.
Okay. Do I have a second? Lee? All right. Any further questions, comments, or discussion? There goes your chance to get that driving license, Jim. All right. All those in favor? 7-0. Article 46, we took care of this already. And I need just to reflect the vote from earlier in the meeting in there, because I don't have it right in front of me. Beautiful. Article 47, street sweeper purchase.
Kevin, can you just tell me what the vote was on 46? I didn't note it.
46.
It was 4-2. I have written down.
Amendments, Yep, 4-2-0.
Thank you.
So we voted on that last week?
What, street sweeper? No, we haven't voted on it.
No, the one you just gave, the vote you just...
Yeah, no, because
No, we just
Larry
did it tonight.
Earlier
Oh, that's-
tonight.
oh, that's right, Larry
You know what,
abstained.
now that I know the vote, I'll just put it in there.
Yeah, you might as well show it as an abstention.
Oh, I was going to just say you weren't participating at all. So-
Well, that was so, but that virtue could, if it is a virtue, could turn into a question.
Okay.
You want an abstention or just Larry didn't vote? Because I have you returning to the meeting at
8:17.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay. I have you out of the meeting too, from 7:01
Yeah,
to
you're out of the
8:17.
meeting then.
I can't, doesn't add up. I can't sit there and vote abstention here,
Right.
Right.
so
So if 4-2-0 is the right vote,
it is,
you are out, so
Yeah.
that's it.
yeah. Okay, there it is. I know when I'm not wanted.
Never.
Okay. So back to Article 47. That's the street sweeper purchase, and I am assuming that is a brand-new street sweeper, not a used one? Yep, okay.
Yes.
Any
Well,
questions?
is that being replaced, or is that an addition to? A second one?
That's we have two sweepers that have to work in conjunction with each other. One does the larger pickup, one follows with the smaller pickup. It's replacing one that I believe we said was 2004 or 6.
Okay, so we're just replacing one. That's what I was trying to,
Yeah, the repair, yes. The repair costs are not just too heavy to justify it anymore.
yeah, that's fine.
All right, let me see. So this is Article 47. I got a motion to approve, no, I don't. I don't have anything. Anyone want to make a motion to approve it as written? Kathy, do I have a second? Lee? Strong contingent over there tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a question? Okay, having a first and second.
I just have a question.
Go ahead.
Why are we taking this from free cash? Isn't there somewhere else, isn't this like maintenance, or, this is predictable, I mean, we should know whether this equipment was gonna fail or not, right? I mean,
No, this would,
It was a surprise, as I understand it.
yeah, the way I understood it too, this was a complete surprise. It
these things
just,
that have a life expectancy of what, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, I don't know what,
10.
10?
This is like 19.
So it's a 2004 sweeper that failed. The estimated cost to repair is about $100,000. And I believe it was on the capital plan to replace, I'm not sure, I can't remember if it was next year, but I believe it might have been 2 years from now, so 2026. So we knew that it was obviously an end of life, but we expected to get a year or two more out of it.
That did not happen.
It did not.
Okay. So I have first and the second. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? 6 to 1 to 0. All right, I think that's the last page 32 of the ATM warrant. All right, so the STM warrant. I don't have that we voted anything on the STM warrant. And now, Barbara, you were supposed to have the actual sum of money needed for snow and ice deficit?
I do. You ready?
Okay.
It's $31,868.99.
$31,868.99. This is STM Article 40.
I can't, and did you say 30? I said 31. Did you say 34?
I said 31. 31,868.99.
868.99, yeah.
All right, so I just have to find the language from somewhere else. So we vote to transfer free cash the sum of for the purposes of that little language. I'm just going to make our motion up and then someone can do it.
Is this it here?
So it's going to be that the town vote to transfer.
From free cash,
Insert
the
the
sum
amount.
of $31,868.99
Yeah.
for the purposes.
Nope, just from free cash to fund the fiscal 2023 snow and ice deficit. That's the exact wording you used last year.
Oh, you want to do it that way?
That's how you did it last year.
Yeah, but now this year I know the number.
No, that was your motion last year. That the town vote to transfer and then insert the number I just gave you from free cash.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Fine.
We're saying the same thing. Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, we're doing. I'm just trying to write it out in here. Yeah. Thousand. Mr. Strunk and White. Is there a dash between 60 and 8?
What are you talking about?
I was talking to Larry Eagles.
Strunk and white. Maybe sunk and white.
I know it's warm in here, huh?
I wasn't commenting on the temperature.
All right, so it was a bad pun. Forgot the 99 cents, Barbara. I think that's what I'm thinking. All right, so here's the motion. That the town vote to transfer the sum of $31,868 and $99,100, in parentheses, they'll in actual numerical form, from free cash, and I missed a word here, for the purpose of funding the snow and ice removal account for fiscal year '23. All right, damn it. The purpose. Right, really. All right. Do I have? Can you read that again? Oh, yeah, sure. That the town vote to transfer the sum of $31,868 and $99,100 from free cash for the purpose of funding the snow and ice removal account for fiscal year 2023.
Make a motion.
All right. So Mike makes that motion. Do I have a second?
No second.
Jim seconds. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor? 7-0. All right. So just so that Robin and Barbara know this, for every one of these for the Board of Selectmen, a recommendation be provided at town meeting since there was no vote.
No, that's not correct. So.
It wasn't in there, so.
It's 3-0 to approve the article. So we'll insert the same language with the dollar amount.
Okay. That wasn't in the original document, though, just so you know.
I know, because this one's not fully updated. I just got it to you so that you could vote tonight.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, Article 41, unpaid bills of a previous year.
That needs the 9/10ths.
Oh, underneath it, yeah.
Ready for the amount?
Hang on a second. I'm just putting that 9/10 vote required in the header.
And while you're doing that, please make sure that the charter in the ATM shows 2/3 required.
I didn't look.
Well, at some point, don't forget, please.
Oh, Larry, at my age?
So I'm going to scroll back. Which one
Yeah,
was it?
see,
Yeah, it's already there, Larry.
Okay, thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome.
all right.
Thank you for saying you're welcome.
Oh, no, don't.
Going down a bad road here.
Well, I'm still 11 years old.
Very much. Thank you, thank you.
All right, what's the number, Barbara?
7,152.04.
Are you going to give us a breakdown in the summary box what the unpaid bills are?
So it's only one bill, and it's National Grid bills. And both these articles have to do with the credits that we had. We had credits that were on bills. We had some bills that had big credits and other bills that we weren't paying. And when all was said and done, we finally have National Grid moving our credits around. We reallocated our Schedule Z to apply those credits, and there were some bills that we didn't have enough credits to pay. So this is what we're doing, and then going forward, we should be all set.
This is for the whole town, right? We had a $38 million budget. This is not bad. This is not a lot of money for a $38 million plus budget, is it?
No, and especially given the circumstances of what we've been trying to work through with National Grid to reallocate credits. It's been a long process, and we're finally close to the finish line, so it'll be good to have this resolved.
Great.
Look,
Wait a second.
they're terrible to deal with.
Hey, Barbara,
I know.
Yeah.
I am confused. I didn't notice this before. So in the STM, I have Article 40, snow and ice removal deficit. Article 41, unpaid bills of a previous year, 9/10 vote required, and that's the 7,152. Then I have Article 42, which is also unpaid bills of a previous
Yeah,
year.
it's sewer.
Yes, because it's sewer related.
Yeah, no, I got
The
it.
same thing.
The free cash is one and the.
Yeah, got it. All right, so our motion that I need to have made is that the town vote to transfer the sum of $52,004,100 from free cash for the purpose of paying unpaid bills of a prior fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
Mike seconds, okay.
I'm sorry, who was the first on that?
Jim, Mr. Waddick. All those in favor? 7-0. And so the selectmen have the same motion, 3-0?
Yep.
I just have a curiosity question. Almost all of the selectmen votes are 3-0. Where were selectmen's 4 and 5?
Mary's been out with back surgery, Mary Blanchard,
Oh, okay, I didn't realize
been out
that.
for a couple of months.
Okay.
And then some of the votes were a different three.
Combinations?
One member could make one night, another member could make another. And then one is 4-0 because a member came in. You'll see one vote that was
There
4-0,
was,
a member
yeah.
came in and voted.
Okay. Article 42.
We'll confirm the votes for you, Kevin.
Okay, so, I think I just screwed that up. All right, so on Article 42, what's the number there?
58,000. Ooh, 192.71.
58,000. 192.71. Come on, Kevin. And 72 hundredths. All right. So our motion, that the town vote to transfer from the sewer reserve fund balance the sum of $58,192 and 72/100ths for the purpose of paying unpaid bills of a prior fiscal year. Anybody willing to take that one up? Lee? And Larry seconds. Okay. To Lee, Larry. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor? 7-0. Is it? No, it was Article 40. Did we do that one?
We voted on 43 and 44.
Oh, yeah, we did.
43 was this. And that's the one, since we last met, Robin inserted some specifics about who comprises the team.
She didn't, though.
She did, it says right there as a part
I
of
did.
other. Oh, you inserted that,
I
okay.
inserted that,
Well,
yeah. I don't even know if it's right, it's what I took from my notes. You guys should have a copy of what I did. Robin, do you have that? Do you see the summary?
Barbara, did you send me that version?
I sent it to
He
you
sent
all.
it after we left tonight. Well,
Okay, let me pull that up, yep.
could I also have, Kevin, what was the vote for you guys on 43?
8-0.
8?
That's what I have.
What was it
last
on,
week.
and what was 44? Just while we're waiting for Robin to read that.
8-0.
I wish I was dead.
So the selectmen voted those 3-0? 2?
So Robin was saying one of the votes was 4-0. I'll have to get those to you tomorrow.
Yeah, it's in whatever one I sent had
I
that
thought that was in
accurately
the
reflected.
ATM. This is the, but the ATM, are they 3-0? I mean, STM, I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, they were all 3-0, all the STMs are 3-0. Currently, this is, this one.
In the summary,
In the summary box.
Town administrator, library director, fire chief,
the
police
word
chief,
national,
recreation
should it be
coordinator.
capitalized?
It's actually, it's not just a citizen, so it's the recreation coordinator, a patrolman. The citizen is actually a part-time employee of the library, so she's also a library employee. I don't have outside citizens on that, they're all town employees.
All right.
Also, the social worker from the police department is on there.
So there's a patrolman,
Yep, a social worker from the police department. A part-time library employee. And we have several other outside members who are opioid recovery experts. And again, it's not a formal committee. I say members, it's people who come to the meetings to provide input.
Larry, should that national be federal?
I think the settlement applied to the entire country, but I don't know that it
It was
was.
brought by the states, I don't think.
Yeah, I
it
don't
was
think it was
brought- Some were
federal.
brought by the states, I think
Yeah.
it's national, not federal.
It's national.
Yes,
Yeah, but a lowercase n.
I
Lowercase
changed that.
n, yeah.
yeah.
Do we have a dollar sign in the article for 54, the numbers?
I did, I
you
fixed
put
that.
that
But
up.
thank you for picking it. I just did it just now, I sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Yeah.
I just, I caught it and added it. All right.
So, and also though, on Article 44,
Yeah?
did you fix the 200,000 in parentheses
Yes.
with the .00?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
I didn't do it, I just did that now too, I just caught
Okay.
that now too.
okay.
Is, every time you look at this, you're always gonna find something new. I know there's some spacing problems. All right, so I think that gets us through everything. Except, was a police department, we're waiting on that final number for our vote on the article for the senior center, and just some summary boxes and explanations. All right, good. All right, so that gets us through those two warrants. Go ahead, Larry.
Given the hour,
Yeah,
I'm
that's what I
wondering
wanted.
if the issues for your consideration should be taken up next week, and if you hold them now, if you want to send them out.
I am, I'm gonna send them
Okay.
out, we'll do that. And so we'll deal with our report and the details of our report next week. I mean, part of it you saw today, we're trying to format on the fly, and deal with the rest of it next week. So we had a set of meeting minutes, I believe it was May 4th. I'm trying to see where or was it May 5th?
May 5th.
Yeah,
No,
it was 2 meetings. It wasn't last week, it was the one prior to that.
I have today's the 11th, right?
Yeah, it says May 5th.
Yeah, it should be May 4th, right?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. I thought you were telling me it was May 5th.
Oh, no, the title is correct, but the error is in the... You got it.
It's in Australia.
So, just the other thing, other than the date, we're gonna change John's name from John Mike, we'll go to Mike McGlone, yeah.
Is it Michael or Mike do you want?
When did she send them to us?
You can go either way.
Okay, and we'll just do MM.
Actually, let me
Good.
be correct.
Mike, we'll go with Mike.
Yesterday at 1:18.
Yes.
Which means you're gonna have to always say which Mike.
I would, I guess I could do that, Mike McGowan, Mike Hager, it's just what it
If
is.
not, I'll just try to look.
You can do JM if you want.
Well, no, MH and MM works, I don't keep, it's when I say, sometimes I'll say Jim and Mike, first and second, and now I'll have to make sure I delineate what Mike does something. All right,
I couldn't find it.
I have a correction.
okay. Go ahead, what you got?
On page 9,
There's 9 pages in minute meetings? It tells you.
at least, about 4 paragraphs down, it starts out, JF pointed out that because Chapter 90, it should say JW pointed out,
Oh,
because
thank you.
Joe was opposed to that.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah, I see it now.
That's the only thing I caught.
That was crazy to try to transcribe and,
That was a lot, yeah.
it was interesting though. I mean, just trying to sort.
Anybody else have anything there? So,
I got a maintenance item.
what's that?
I've been trying to find the
Oh, we got,
water and sewer budget in this.
It's always in the article. It's only in the article.
It's only in the article? Okay.
That's the only place we ever see it.
All right.
You were trying to see how they come up with it?
Well, I was just wanting, see if I could just start tracking it, that's all.
If you have lots of these, you could track it that way.
That's what I'm gonna have to do.
I have about 30 years worth.
I'm not gonna track that much.
Okay. All right.
Just one question on the minutes. Do we usually put the time we adjourn? Or no?
Usually we do.
Yeah, there isn't a time here, so it was late.
Let's see.
I can just look at the video, but go ahead and do that.
I actually didn't write it down.
No, we did.
I know it was before 10, it was close.
Close.
Yeah, it was like this time frame, 10:50.
It was close to, it was close to 10.
Huh?
I put 9:35. I did actually wrote it down myself. What do you
Okay,
have?
so she has 9:35.
I will double check that, but I think you're right. I think it was about 9:35, but usually I track it, and I even can do it on the, when I look at the video.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we did make YouTube today. All right.
Oh, boy.
All right, so I would need a motion to approve the May 5th minutes as amended.
so moved.
Jay and Larry seconded.
May 4th minutes. is
May
amended.
4th, yeah, that's one of the amendments. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, you have to point it out. We gotta get the record right. That's okay.
It's
A little
late.
punchy
We gotta
this
get
evening.
on home.
All right, I have a first and a second. Any additional comments?
No.
All those in favor? 7-0.
Quite adamant.
All right.
He's punchy.
Any old business?
Oh, we can.
Yeah, me.
I guess under new business, like I said, Larry was kind enough to put together a set of topics and, that came up during our deliberations through this cycle. I'll send them out, maybe we can flesh them out and make them issues for your consideration as we have in the past. I'll try to do some work on, the front section I write about our budget recommendations, so on and so forth, so I can get that out. And we'll hopefully have close.
You'll note those issues wound up with actually 3 emails. I wrote to you, you wrote to me, I wrote to you. So there's 3 emails that, and one of the essays we knock out.
Yeah.
But I think the whole committee should see everything, don't you?
Sure, I'm more than happy to send them out. Thank you for, we'll do all of that.
Yeah.
Send all 3 emails. Maybe I'll put them all in one, like, catch-all email
Yeah,
and
sure.
say, issues for that. All right, anybody else with new business? Public access. There's nobody on the phone. All right, then. Lee?
Nothing.
Oh, no, yeah, I was going to let you
Wants
make
you to
one.
make the motion.
I move to adjourn?
There you go. Kathy seconds. And it is 10:53.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Well,
Rob.
9:53.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, thank you, Rob.